some few members, most of them have logged in this meeting. We have about 10 members of parliament out of 11, which means that we are overwhelmingly present in this meeting to start with our meeting this morning. And I wish to really take this opportunity to heartily welcome everybody who has been invited to this important meeting of the Select Committee. In this meeting, we have invited the heads of the law enforcement agencies, as well as the National Prosecuting Authority. And I've just seen the face of Advocate Shamila Batoi. Yes, he is present, and I hope that as per the arrangement, the head of the Hawks is also part of this important meeting. We have also invited the head of SIU, the Special Investigating Unit, Advocate Mutivi. This is an important meeting that we are going to have this morning. Equally important in this regard, we have invited the Free State Department that we interacted with about 3 weeks ago, the MEC, the HOD, as well as other officials within the department itself. We have also, equally important, extended our invitation to the affected municipalities. In terms of the just process, I received few apologies for this meeting. One apology is of the Minister of COGTA, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. She's not going to be part of this meeting. We have also received an apology from General Bekitele. He also has prior engagements. From our side, we have an apology from Honorable Enoch Mtetwa. He is busy with the interviews for the Magistrate Commission. He's not going to be part of this important meeting. Other than that, I think we are geared up. All members of parliament are here, and we're looking to have a fruitful engagement with the law enforcement agencies. I just, in the first instance, also express a view, a word of gratitude to the heads of the law enforcement agencies. They do not fail us all the time, in all material times, when we extend an invitation to them to engage with them on specific issues that we have an interest on as a select committee. They heartily obliged. If they are not available, we communicate and properly plan that this meeting must be held. And I just wish, on behalf of the committee, thank them in their busiest, tough schedules, that they make time to appear before our committee to engage in respect of the pertinent issues that are before us. Now, the focus of this meeting is on the Free State Province. It is on the Free State Province, and I want to take this opportunity to just sketch out, for the benefit of those who are not part of this important meeting, the last meeting, how this meeting was conceived. I think this is quite important. We were engaging with the Department of COGTA in the Free State. The reason why we were engaging them, we were looking at their investigations in terms of the Section 106 of the Municipal Systems Act. 106 of the Municipal Systems Act calls for the MEC of COGTA to institute some investigation and appoint an investigating team when issues which border, or allegations which border on fraud, on corruption, of maladministration, or on nepotism. That provision of the Act calls for the MEC to institute the investigations to the respective municipalities that are affected by that. Now, when the Department of COGTA presented before us, they told us that their investigations start way back as 2014, and in the course of those investigations, the reports are available. Some of the reports are not available, but they do indicate that some elements of corruption and all of that had happened in respect of those investigations. And on their part, they have referred all of this to the law enforcement agencies to further investigate. And 8 years along the line, nothing substantive would have happened in those municipalities, and it would seem that people act with impunity. They do as they wish. On the other hand, municipalities are crumbling. Free State has got one of the worst municipalities in the country. The UIF and W are skyrocketing. Municipalities adopt the unfunded budgets. Their income are more than the expenditures. The expenditures are more than the income, and there's no effective service delivery. And at the end of the day, it is the poor people who are adversely affected by those situations. And this must be confronted. And that we get a sense, according to the department, they are here, they'll speak for themselves. But the issue here is that they have referred these matters to the law enforcement agencies. There is this information and that information, this excuse and that excuse. And as a committee, we express our revulsion and our dissatisfaction about that state of affairs. It is on those bases that we felt appropriate and quite orderly that we must request all the law enforcement agencies just focus on the Free State province. As we know, and we can see on social media, on mainstream media, there are a lot of issues that are pertaining in the Free State province, whether it is at the level of the province itself or in the municipalities. A lot is taking place, but if there is no concomitant action that is taken by the law enforcement agency to curb this scourge, then it becomes a problem. And it means that perpetually all of these things will happen. It is on those bases that we felt appropriate, as I indicated, that we need this engagement today. And as I pointed out, we were quite happy that that this meeting finally is taking place to reflect and look at those particular issues. With that background, I think we are geared up to start. I've welcomed everybody in this meeting, including the generals, officials from all the department, NPA, SIU, the Hawks, and the police. I've also seen the provincial commissioner of the police from the Free State is also part of this meeting. Everybody, as I indicated, you are most welcomed to this meeting. With that, I think we need to kickstart. The agenda is before us. We are going to request the Free State provincial COGTA to just make some reflections, very, very quick, not more than between 5 to 10 minutes. We just say, this is the situation in general. These are our observations, but they've already made a presentation to us. But for the benefit of those who are not there, it will be quite important for either the MEC or the HOD to sketch that background, so that as we move forward, we must move in unison with that kind of background and understanding of the issues at hand. And thereafter, we will take the law enforcement agency one by one, and at the end, we will engage with those presentations. This is how we are going to unfold the agenda for the day. With that, can I invite the MEC, if he's in the platform, or the HOD, to just take a lead in respect of that? Over to you, please.
Chairperson?
Yes.
This most Chair, we have received an apology from the MEC Free State. I'm told that the head of the department will be the delegation.
There's an echo as you speak. Can I request Colonel Ledwaba to mute his phone, please? Colonel Ledwaba, can you mute your mic? And because
Chair,
this
my apologies, I'm trying to connect properly. I'm losing connection, so
no
it
problem.
activated
Yes,
the
just as a
microphone.
way of
My apologies.
Yes, okay. As a way of request, this meeting is heavily attended. A lot of people are part of this meeting. I'm going to request all the participants, please, with all the participants, that please mute your mic when you are not on platform so that we have a smooth running of the meeting. Most you explaining the HOD and the MEC?
Chair, I was indicating to the meeting that there's an official apology from the MEC Free State, but there's an indication that the HOD will be leading Free State delegation, Chairperson.
Yes, yes, the HOD is Mr. Duma. Yes, Mokete. Is he in the platform? Or let us get that indication. Anyone from the Free State, what is happening? This meeting is very important. Extremely important for that matter. Anyone from the Free State? Yes, I think we must proceed. But I, on behalf of the committee, take strong exception of this. We do not tolerate this situation because, as I indicated, this meeting was prompted by what we were listening to the Free State, and it's quite important that in their own words, in their own way, they must raise what are the sticky issues, what are the constraints, what is the problem. Can I just beg your indulgence that for 2 minutes, I just pause a bit because I need them in this meeting. This meeting is very important and this situation is very, very much intolerable. Can we just pause 2 minutes so that I do my best to get any one of them to log in and be part of this important meeting. This meeting is very, very important. And we can't move ahead without them because they are the ones who raise issues about the law enforcement agencies and the frustrations that they have about the law enforcement agencies, not unless they were not telling us the truth, because assembling people in one meeting is quite important to get to the bottom of the issues. Just 2 minutes, we will deal with the issues, please.
Bobatat.
Fine.
Bafuneka labantu sabafuna phela. They must come.
Bayabaleka Motsamai.
Yeah, they must come and answer for their deeds. We are waiting for them.
It sounds disrespectful even to the people that we have painstakingly ensured that they are part of this meeting, having to jump this and that, and having to, under difficult circumstances, ensure that we coordinate this meeting better. It's not a problem of our own making. Everybody, when requested to attend, when they've indicated that they will attend, they are in a respectful way obligated to respect those who have invited them. And in this particular instance, to just take time to respect the invitation of Parliament, given the magnitude of the issues at hand, it is quite important to confront and deal with those issues. And they are not there. I have a proposal that be that as it may, we must proceed with the meeting. We must receive the presentations from the agencies. They must all share with us the work that they do in the Free State, the nature and the kind of cases that they are dealing with. And based on that, we will make an understanding and take those presentations and measure them against what the Department of COGTA in the Free State has indicated to us. We will then deal with this issue that people disrespect our meetings in the way that they do. As I indicated, the whole issue is around the Section 106 interventions, investigations in terms of the Municipal Systems Act, which empower the MEC to institute investigations in the municipalities on the allegations that are before them. And based on that, the reports would be produced, and if there are acts of criminality, allegations thereof, they will be referred to the relevant authorities for investigations. And we need to know what is happening. And as I indicated, we need to see clear-cut action taken against those perpetrators, alleged perpetrators. I must just be careful about the use of my words so that I don't make any mistakes. Yes, be that as it may, honorable members, I think we must proceed. Can I, if you don't mind, take the first presentation. Moss, I think is it SIU or is it Hawks?
Person is Hawks.
It's Hawks, yes.
Before Honorable Chairperson.
Yes.
Honorable Chairperson, before good morning.
Yes.
Before the presentation.
Yes.
My name is Agnes Mokoro. My name is Agnes Mokoro Shasha, the Speaker of Tarim District Municipality.
Yes, yes.
Can I get the indication from the chairperson? Didn't you try to phone the MEC so that we can get hold of him and tell him that the HOD that was mandated to be in the meeting because the MEC is not present, he's nowhere to be found, so that the MEC can be available for the minutes that you wanted him to present, and then after that the MEC can go to the agent.
Okay, Honorable Speaker. Yes, I've got in touch with the office of the MEC. I spoke to the chief of staff. They are trying to do something, but in the meantime, we can't wait for them. There is a lot at hand for members for the heads of the law enforcement agents. They are doing a lot, and we can't waste their time on the basis of something that cannot be explained. They do a lot of work, and we must really appreciate the fact that they are here, and wasting their time is something that we cannot do. I think we must proceed. I take what we say. We'll see what we do once the presentations are on. Yes, can I invite General Lebea or any representative there?
Chairperson,
my apologies.
Chairperson.
Yes.
My apologies.
Oh, yes. HOD?
Before you
proceed, you must explain why are you treating us this way? Because we've been waiting.
Chairperson, I am not. Good morning, Chairperson, and the rest of other members who are in this platform. My apologies, Chairperson. We had a little bit of a hiccup when we were about to join the meeting. All the plugs in this building just went off, and we could not just simply access the locking in details. We have just requested technicians from Public Works, and that's why one is only able to join now. My apologies for that, Chairman. It was a situation beyond my control indeed. Public Works can confirm to that effect. Thanks, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you, HOD. I don't want us to indulge in that. Safe to say that we'll know that, and we alone, we can deliberate on this situation any further without wasting time. I've indicated that the whole issue why we want you as a Department of COGTA in the Free State is in about 5 to at the most 10 minutes to share with us the frustrations, the issues, the stumbling blocks, everything that impedes the movement forward, especially in respect of the resolution of the cases that you submitted to the law enforcement agencies in a general way, not going specific to doing specifics to the municipalities, because you did that in the past, and we will get some elaboration about that in respect of the presentations that will follow. Just sketch it quickly in terms of that situation, because it is quite important.
Chairperson, I think unless you are giving me a go-ahead to present.
Yes, proceed.
No, thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to the members of the Select Committee, the NDPP, and all other senior leaders who may be in this platform. Chairperson, indeed, we did
recording in progress.
Previously indicate that we have had, my apologies, quite a number of matters that were referred to the law enforcement officers emanating from our Section 106 report, where the Systems Act says if the MEC is of the view that there's malpractice, there's maladministration, there's corruption in any of the municipalities, he can appoint one individual or a team to go and investigate elements of malpractice, maladministration, and to a larger extent, fraud and corruption. We have conducted this investigation in a number of municipalities, and we've had our report in terms of the finding and tabled such to the MEC and subsequently to those respective councils. And those reports have actually indicated that there may be critical areas that the law enforcement officers must actually look at. But unfortunately, in some of the issues, for instance, if I may start first with Malutapofu, we know that we invoked Section 139 in Malutapofu. There were quite a number of things that we engaged in. There were quite a number of things that we actually discovered. And then at the time we presented the report to the law enforcement officers, I remember Colonel Nwane from the Hawks was the one responsible. But we were told that the case has been struck off the roll when there's that prima facie evidence which show that quite a lot of corrupt activities from 2016 up to 2019 when we withdrew our team. There's quite a number of things that we have discovered, which we then presented to the law enforcement officers. But there's never been any element where people have been held to account. The second municipality is in Metsimaholo, where you would know that the reports have also indicated that there was a stadium in Orangeville that was built, or that was purported to have been built, and an amount of more than 56 million was actually used. But when you go there in Orangeville, there's no stadium that actually exists. And in others, for instance, recently we went to Machabeng to present our findings in terms of Section 106 report. And then the next day, in particular myself, I received threatening calls, which were indicating that I'm trying to make sure that people go to jail. And if that is the case, I must watch my back. So I was advised to also talk to Colonel, the one who's responsible for the intelligence here in the province. I still have to arrange a meeting to give the details of those things. But fortunately, Chair, after our engagement with the select committee, we did have an engagement with the provincial head of the Hawks, and they have given us a progress. And in some of those issues where we suspected there was no progress made, we were informed that there has been quite a number of progress, and some of those matters are now before the courts. And then we hopeful that something will come out of those particular matters. That is just in a nutshell. We did send our report, which indicate those specific cases we were actually complaining about, and then where we wanted to be briefed in terms of the progress so that we're able to also account at portfolio committee, the select committee, and other institution where we're supposed to give account on consequence management, including the Auditor General. So there's progress. We have even agreed with the head of the Ox that we will have monthly meetings so that we can exchange documents once we have conducted investigations in some of municipalities, and then get guidance on how and what processes to follow in making sure those who are found to have been on the wrong side of the law are actually brought to book. That is in a nutshell. Thank you, Chairperson.
All right, thank you very much. This is a summary, an overview actually of what is a situation. We may just add that you made a presentation of about 8, if not 9 municipalities which had a similar problem, but this synopsis and overview is okay. It does indicate that there are issues that needs to be dealt with. Over to you, General Lebea.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning to your team as well. To the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, General Masemola, the Director of Public Prosecution, Advocate Batohi, and your deputies, the leaders of other departments in the platform, the Deputy National Commissioners in the platform, the Provincial Commissioner of the Free State Province, colleagues, and the Secretariat team, the Free State COGTA team that is in the platform, a very good morning. Chairperson, I am Lieutenant General Musikidi. I am the Deputy National Head of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, commonly known as the Hawks. I am going to be representing the National Head, who is currently on vacation leave. I will be taking you through the presentation that we have prepared with the Free State Province, and I need to indicate upfront, Chairperson, the disclaimer that the presentation that the committee may be in possession of, that was sent in May, there were cases that were appearing in court in that month, including early this month, that we do have progress on them, that the presentation that you are having and that I'm having will have a different court dates, but I will indicate when I get to such slides to make reflection of the cases that have been updated. I will also, Chairperson, indicate as we go through the slides where the amendments were made after we went through the presentation to update it. We couldn't send you the newly updated presentation, Chairperson, because of the time frames, and I will indicate as I go through the slides where such changes have been made. If you can go to the next slide. And I have also been informed that there are challenges with the flighting of the presentation, Chairperson, that might affect my presentation as I go along this presentation. I want to apologize upfront if that happens throughout. Chairperson, this is the slide that is just showing the overview of the presentation that you'll be receiving. That will be the mandate of the Directorate, the purpose of and the introduction to the presentation, the summary of cases, as well as the provincial overview of cases that is under investigation within the Directorate. That will also include a Chairperson on the total number that I will be reflecting.
Comrade Paula, no. No.
What is it?
For disrupting our meeting.
Thank you, Chair. I was just giving the overview of the presentation, which will be on those 4 areas. Chairperson, next slide, Kenna. Chairperson, as we all know, the mandate of the Directorate, it's in terms of Section 17D of the Police Act, that is to investigate, prevent, and combat national priority offenses, as well as to look at offenses that are referred to in Chapter 2 and Section 34 of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act. The Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, through a multidisciplinary approach, conducts major case and project-driven investigation that are based on a threat assessment, and under the following 3 strategic focus area, which is a serious corruption, serious commercial crime, as well as serious organized crime investigation. Next slide, please. The purpose of my presentation this morning to your committee, Chairperson, is to provide an overview to the Select Committee on Corporate Governance and Traditional Affairs on the status of criminal cases opened in terms of forensic investigations conducted in terms of the Government Municipal System Act in the municipality within the Free State Province. Whilst the office appreciates
the invitation that the committee considers to receive the status report of the investigation that the Directorate is conducting in the Free State Province, I need to indicate, Chairperson, that these cases are not necessarily recorded to us under Section 106 of the Local Government Municipal System Act 32 of 2000. All the cases that will be presented here with, Chair, are the cases that emanate from the findings of the Auditor General of South Africa, the complaints that may have been received from municipal managers, service providers who have not been considered, and general complaints that are received from the public. The report focuses on dockets on hand. With regard to the investigation, it is important as well to note that various factors influence the investigation that I will include during the time of going through each case, as I will be giving synopsis of each of the cases that we are investigating. Next slide. Chairperson, on this slide as well, slide number 5, this is the total number or the summary of the cases that I will be talking to. I need to indicate as well that under the cases on the court roll, there are 9 instead of 8. There was an omission of 1 case because it is within one municipality. We'll see when we get to the slide that is captured under 1 case because of the subject matter that it's the person of interest is 1 person. Then we'll have 4 cases that are undergoing the court decision. We'll have 31 cases that are under investigation. That is that amendment, Chair, that I have just indicated, that 1 case will then have to be calculated with the number of cases under control. This brings us to a total of 44 cases. This 44 number will include case dockets as well as inquiry dockets that has not yet been registered as case docket, but they are inquiry dockets that we are also investigating. That means that they are preliminary investigation that we are conducting on those cases, and as and when enough has been done with them.
Just a bit. Honorable Kenny Musamai, please. Honorable Kenny Musamai, please mute. Honorable Kenny Musamai, let us lead by example, please.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, this slide is just to unpack the number of cases as per the previous slide, number 5. The other rectification on this slide, Chairperson, that I need to indicate up front is that under Maluti Apofung local municipality, it's 7 cases instead of 8. I will indicate where that other case is. It is because of the involvement of 1 person that is a person of interest into municipalities. So when we were preparing this presentation, it was miscalculated. It is a case of the other municipality where you see MAP local municipality. As we all know that Maluti Apofung is abbreviated as MAP. The municipality that needs to be included there is Mutaka, where we have only 1 case under Mutaka municipality. That is another correction, Chairperson. And Thabo Mufutanyani is not a local municipality, rather it is a district municipality. I think there is a typo as well on this particular slide, Chairperson. Next slide, please. Chairperson, going through each case as I've alluded to earlier, we'll start with the Bothaville case 107 of 6/2019. This is within the Nala local municipality, wherein there was an appointment of a company called Configent Zero Tolerance in terms of Regulation 36, which is to render security service in that municipality. What was discovered in that is that the appointment letter of that company was not done properly. And as a result, the municipality paid to this service provider an amount of 205,196 into the bank, which they benefited to the process of a crime. The conduct of the municipal manager in that Nala local municipality was improper, and this was discovered in September 2016, or between September 2016 and May 2018, and the person was therefore charged for that case. And the case, there were 4 persons that were charged initially. The case was withdrawn against the service providers as it was established that there is nothing wrong that they have done. Rather, the public officials have transgressed and contravened the Municipal Finance Management Act as well as fraud in that particular matter. The case appeared in court and it is postponed to the 10th to the 14th of October 2022, as well as between 21 and 25 of November 2022 for trial. Next slide. The next case is Bethlehem 243 of 2019. Chairperson, if I may request that I do not go through everything that is under the synopsis of the case. I believe that the committee have a copy of this
Yes.
in the interest of time, just to reflect on
Yes.
other matters. Chairperson, thank you very much.
Yes, I was about to say that. If you can just give us one line about the case itself and give us the status of the case so that we have a sense, it will help. I was about to make that intervention.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, in this particular matter, the case of defeating the ends of justice was recorded, which persons of interest that were charged here includes the attorney, which is the legal and the legal officer in the Dishabeng local municipality. The matter appeared before court. There are 3 persons that were charged in this case, which are 2 public officials and the attorney. The case appeared on the 3rd of June, and it is postponed to the 28th of November until the 2nd of December. I need to indicate that there was a representation made to the National Director of Public Prosecution on this matter, and on the date of appearance, we will get that feedback as to what will be the way forward on that representation. Next slide, please. Next case is Velcom 152 of 9/2022 is a matter of fraud wherein 5 officials have been charged, including the executive director. The matter appeared and it is postponed to the 15th until the 19th of August for trial, Chair, and the actual loss on this particular matter is 350,000, with the potential, if it was not discovered timeously, of 16.5 million that could have been lost should the case not be investigated and this been stopped. The next, this is in regard of the irregular appointments. The next matter in the same Machabe municipality, it's a Velcom case 228 of 7/2020, is a matter of fraud, theft, forgery, artery, and money laundering. This case appeared in February of the current year. and it will be, or it's postponed to February 2023, my apology. In February 2023, Chairperson, the total loss that is involved in that particular matter is 153,000, and there is only one person that is charged on that case, who is the senior fleet manager of the municipality. Next case, it's Zastron case 92 of 10/2008 and Zastron case 67 of 2/2008. Chair, I earlier indicated that this is the case that it was omitted on the list of the cases that are before court. That makes the total of cases to be 9. The matter here, it's a fraud and theft. The total loss is plus or minus 34 million. To that Muhokare local municipality. One person has been charged on that particular matter, and the case is postponed to the 19th of September of this current year. Next case. Next slide, my apology, Chair. In the Nketwane local municipality, it's rates case 65 of 8/2013. It is fraud, corruption, contravention of MFMA and contravention of POCA Act. Chairperson, plus or minus 4 million has been over 4 million. A loss has been incurred in this particular matter. 6 persons were charged on this particular case, of which 2 of the accused persons are juristic persons, where Ms. Yvonne Morebi and Mandla Morebi are accounting on one case or they're on one matter, which is Mamete Trading Close Corporation, and we have also Nzwaki on Kabelo Laundry Services, and the officials were charged as well on the first leg of this investigation. 4 persons were charged, Chairperson, and other 2 accused number 1 and accused number 2, which is the former mayor and the CFO, were also included on the second leg of this investigation, together with accused number 4 to 6. So on the first leg of investigation, only accused number 1, number 2, and number 3 were charged. 4 to 6 were charged on the other matter, and the case is also appearing in court. It has been remanded on the second leg of investigation. It has been remanded to the 11th of August in 2022. The next matter is in Sitsoto local municipality. It's fixed back 258 of 7/2020. It's forgery, fraud, and uttering over 25 million. It's the potential loss on this particular matter. One person who is the director of TML Civils has been charged in this particular case. The case is also appearing in court. It will be heard on the 14th of November in 2022. The next case in the same municipality, Sitsoto local municipality, it's fixed back 66 of 8/2018. It's a theft case. It involves, or it involved, the loss involved in this particular matter is 381,000. The matter is also a court case, which is appearing on the 19th of September of 2022. The next case, Chairperson, will see the number, it's changing there. The legend number is changing where the case numbers was reflected on the first 9 cases. These cases that will follow this slide are all cases that are under investigation. It's Kronstadt case 92 of 4, which is falling under Mutkaka municipality. As I've indicated earlier, it is highlighted Dishabeng and Mutkaka local municipality. Kronstadt falls under Mutkaka local municipality, the matter that, the fact that Dihlabeng was highlighted, it's because this particular person was also involved in another matter in Dihlabeng, a municipality. So it's a person that is running around different municipalities in the Free State province. The actual loss, that it's the money that has already been paid to this service provider, it's 35 million, but the whole contract amount was 40,000. So far he was paid 35 million already on that 40 million contract. The matter is still under investigation.
Yes.
Next slide. In the Dihlabeng local municipality, it's Bethlehem 381 of 6 2019. It's contravention of MFMA chair and fraud. The actual loss in this particular matter, it's 55 million to that municipality. And this is where I indicated that the person of interest here was also involved with the Mutaka case, and this matter is also under investigation. The next matter is in Maluti Apofung local municipality. It's Putadichaba case 277 of 10, 2018, fraud, corruption, and contravention of MFMAS. The actual loss is 17 million on this particular matter. The case is still under investigation, chairperson. The next matter is Putadichaba case 276 of 10, 2018. It's fraud, corruption, and contravention of Municipal Finance Management Act. The actual loss to the municipality is 23 million. There are 26 statements thus far that has been taken. The matter is also still under investigation. And on that particular matter of Maluti Apofung, chairperson, I must indicate that the same person was also involved in the Dihlabeng local municipality. The next matter is in Dihlabeng local municipality. It's Bethlehem 247 of 2, 2020. It is fraud, theft, and contravention of MFMA. The actual loss to the municipality is 325,000. 21 statement has thus far been obtained, and this matter is also still under investigation. The next matter is in Machabeng local municipality. It's Velcom 225 of 7, 2020. Again, here is fraud, contravention of MFA and corruption. The actual loss in this particular matter is 7.2 million. The matter is still under investigation, and thus far, 6 statements have been obtained. It is alleged in this matter that the regulation 36 of the municipal supply chain management was contravened in regards to the service that was accordingly not, a specification was not met, and the tender was therefore given to that particular service provider. The next matter, it's in Machabeng local municipality. It is a Velcom 227 of 7, 2020. It is a matter of fraud which involves 2 million that the municipality incurred. The case is also under investigation. It's only 2 statements thus far that has been taken, and the team is working on this particular case. Next case. In the Maluti Apofung local municipality, Putadichaba 527 of 10, 2020, it's fraud and contravention of Municipal Finance Management Act. The actual loss that the municipality incurred is 386,000. 17 statement has thus far been taken, and the matter is still under investigation. This is one of the matters that were received from a whistleblower. As I've indicated earlier, that there are different areas where we have received the cases that are under investigation. The next case is in Kopano local municipality, which is Tromsbeck case 7 of 6/2018. It's a matter of fraud, wherein a total loss of 1.7 million was incurred by the municipality. 40 statements have thus far been taken, and investigation is continuing. Next slide. This is the matter that is in the Thabo Mofutshane district municipality. I indicated earlier that it was captured incorrectly on slide number 5. Putadichaba case 417 of 5/2019 is a matter of fraud, wherein the municipality incurred a loss of 1.4 million. 7 statements has thus far been obtained, and the matter is still going. My apology, investigation is still ongoing. Next slide depicts cases that are in the Manzupa local municipality. 3 cases that it's against one person, which is the municipal manager who made payments to service providers. It's fraud matters as per Lady Brand case 551 of 12/2020. Lady Brand case 137 of 1/2021, as well as Lady Brand case 138 of 1/2021. The total loss by the municipality on 551 of 12 is 1.5 million. On Lady Brand 137 of 1/21, it's 143,000. And on the last case of Lady Brand 138 of 1/2021, it's 2.2 million, and the statements have been obtained as per the reflection on the presentation, which is 13, 11, and 9 on these cases, and the investigation is still ongoing. Next slide. In the Mwate local municipality, it's Barres case 34 of 11/2011 is a matter of fraud, wherein 351,123 loss was incurred by the municipality. So far, 10 statements has been obtained, and the investigation is ongoing on this particular matter. Next slide. In the Machabeng local municipality, it's Velcom case 406 of 1/2020. It's an offense of fraud, wherein 3.5 million loss was incurred by the municipality. 6 statements has thus far been obtained. It involves 69 employees whose banking details were changed, chairperson, and the investigation is still continuing. Next slide. In the same municipality of Machabeng, it's Velcom case 53 of 8/21. It's a matter of fraud, of which 15.8 million loss was incurred by the municipality. So far, only 5 statements have been obtained, and the case investigation is still ongoing. I think this is one matter that was indicated by the HOD, where the stormwater system was never built in Nyakalong, although payments were made to the contractors through the recommendation of the consultant. The next case, it's in the Nala local municipality. It has 2 legs of investigation, which is Bothaville case 167 of 1/2012, as well as leg 2 of the same on the same subject person of interest, which is Wesselsbron case 66 of 1/2012. Leg 1 of the case was reported in January 2012 on the 20th, and the other one was reported on the 14th that is Wesselsbron case, was reported on the 14th of January the same year. It is fraud, theft, and corruption, wherein 93 million is involved in this particular 2 cases, and 53 statement has thus far been obtained. The matter is still under investigation, and it involves the bucket eradication program, which was on phase 3. The next slide, this is the inquiry docket, which is investigated by the corruption unit or investigation team, which was reported on the 1st of May in 2021. It is fraud and corruption in the Machabeng local municipality. 2 persons of interest are under investigation in this particular matter. It involves 200 million loss that the municipality have incurred. Only 2 statements has been obtained in this particular matter, and the investigation is ongoing. Next slide. It's another inquiry docket. Next slide. Inquiry docket 3 of 8/2021. It's with the provincial task team, and it is a corruption and contravention of Municipal Finance Management Act. 300,000 loss have been incurred by the municipality. 9 statements have already been obtained on this particular matter, which is a tender to fence the graveyard sites in Mafube municipality, which is Frankfurt, Villiers, Freire, and Cornelia areas, and the investigation is still ongoing. Next slide. Provincial inquiry docket number 2 of 1/2022, which is corruption, fraud, and contravention of Municipal Finance Management Act. Chair, I indicated that there were typing errors. It's not MMFA, but rather MFMA. 3 million loss was incurred by the municipality. Thus far, 3 statements have been obtained, and this case it's in the Mafube local municipality, which includes the IT contract that was awarded to a service provider by the municipality without following the proper supply chain management tender process or the application of the deviation process according to the applicable laws. The next matter is in the Provincial Commissioners Free State Serious Organized Crime Unit inquiry docket number 6 of 4/2018, which is fraud and corruption. 6 million loss was incurred by the Maluti Apofung local municipality. 19 statements has thus far been obtained, and this matter is still under investigation. Next slide. This is Park Road case docket, case number 988 of 2/2018. It's a corruption matter. That the loss here has not yet been established, Chair, and I must indicate that although it is a Park Road case, it involves Machabeng local municipality. The matter is still under investigation, and it will soon be transferred to a correct station so that it can depict the municipality involved. The 7 statement has thus far been obtained. The reason is because the whistleblower went to Bloemfontein to report the matter, as he indicated that he does not trust the system in the Machabeng area, and I have discussed this matter with the colleagues, and we will do the necessary transfer so that we can obtain a proper case reference number. When we appear again, Chairperson, it may have a different case number, but it will be the same matter. The jurisdiction of the case is in Machabeng, not in a Mangaung local municipality. And the statements obtained thus far, it's 7. it's still under investigation. The next slide, it's in the Apofung local municipality. It's Putadichaba case 189 of 3/2018. It's fraud and corruption that involves 3 million loss that the municipality has incurred. 22 statements has thus far been obtained on this matter, and the case is still under investigation. Next slide, it's in Ngetwani local municipality. It's raised case 103 of 3/2018. It's a corruption matter. The total loss has not yet been identified. 6 statements has thus far been obtained. The matter is still under investigation. The next case is Provincial Commissioner Free State Serious Organized Crime Investigation, which is inquiry case number 4 of 5/2019. It's called corruption and fraud that involves 8.4 million that was incurred by the municipality. Only 1 statement thus far has been obtained, and the matter is in Kopanong municipality. This matter is also still under investigation, and Chairperson, as you can see, it is both the DPCI and SIU that are busy with the investigation on this particular matter. The next case is in Machabeng municipality. It's Velcom case 453 of 8/2021. It's fraud and corruption, wherein a total loss of 3 million was incurred by the municipality. 30 statement has thus far been obtained, and this matter is still under investigation. It was also reported in Velcom, but it involves the Brantford Museum project, and in state, the money was transferred by the provincial sports to the implementing agency, which is in the Lijolipuzo municipality, and there was no monitoring process that was done in this particular case. The next case, it's an inquiry docket as per Provincial Commissioner Free State Serious Organized Crime Investigation. It's case number 4 of 2021. It's corruption, where 4.2 million was incurred by the municipality. Only 1 statement has been obtained, and when investigation is done, it will fall under the number of cases in the Nala local municipality. Next case, next slide. Another inquiry docket as per Provincial Commissioner Free State Serious Organized Crime Investigation. It's inquiry case number 2 of 12/2021. It's fraud and corruption. The loss has not yet been established, and the matter is still under investigation, and it involves Machabeng local municipality. Next slide. Provincial inquiry 1 of 8/2021. On your slides, Chairperson, you will have 3 slides that are depicting this particular matter with the same reference number or same inquiry number. It's because of the whistleblower indicating different matters with different amounts and different processes that was contravened in that particular case. Hence, it will have same provincial inquiry reference number 1 of 8/2021. On 1 issue is corruption, fraud, and contravention of Municipal Finance Management Act. And it involves the total loss of 16 million that was incurred. 4 statement has already been obtained, and it's in the Maludi Apofung local municipality, of which the service provider was appointed in 2019, and it involves landfill site in the area of Putadichaba, Harrismith, and Kestel. The next report in that particular inquiry is also in the same local municipality, but it is on the project monitoring unit, where there was a deviation by the former municipal manager in 2020, where the tender was awarded and withdrawn due to an error, and the tender was re-advertised. The total loss that was incurred by the municipality, it's 15 million. 2 statement has been obtained on that particular issue, and the third matter on the same inquiry number involves corruption, fraud, and contravention of Municipal Finance Management Act, which involves, again, the CFO of the municipality, as well as the municipal manager, where the tender was advertised for the municipality for the security in the building of the municipality in that local municipality. And the tender was, the monies were escalated from 1.1 to 2.8 million without following due processes. The total loss has yet to be established, and 2 statements has already been taken on this particular matter. The next matter is the provincial inquiry number 4 of 1/2022. It's fraud, contravention of Municipal Finance Management Act and corruption, wherein a total loss of 62 million was incurred by the municipality. It is in regards to the waste water treatment for Alabucha in the Mafube local municipality. Only 1 statement has thus far been obtained, and the matter is still under investigation. Next slide depicts Putadichaba case 528 of 10/2020. It is in the Apofu local municipality. It's fraud and contravention of Municipal Finance Management Act, wherein a loss of 7 million was incurred. 21 statement has already been obtained. It's another matter of the whistleblower, and the investigation is still ongoing. Next slide. An inquiry docket in the Provincial Commission of Free State Serious Organized Crime Investigation, and it is inquiry case number 1 of 3/2019, fraud and corruption, where 24 million was incurred. Loss was incurred by the municipality. Investigation is still proceeding in this particular matter, and it involves the Mazimahulu local municipality. 12 statement has thus far been obtained. Next slide. In the Masilonyani local municipality, TNSN case 169 of 11/2018, it's fraud matter that involves the total loss to the municipality of 9.4 million. 4 statement has thus far been obtained, and the docket has been submitted to court for the decision. Investigation is still proceeding. The next matter is in the Shabeng local municipality. It's Bethlehem case 170 of 2/2022. It's corruption, theft, defeating the ends and administration of justice. It involves 275,000 loss that the municipality has incurred. Number of statements obtained in that matter is a total of 6. And the docket has been submitted for the decision. I must indicate, Chair, that it is reflecting to be under investigation as we are conducting the prosecutorial guided investigation. So we're working hand in hand with NPA on these pending matters. Chairperson, that concludes the number of cases that are under investigation in the Free State at different municipality. I submit, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the very elaborate presentation that shares with us progress in respect of the different cases, whether they are already in court or pending cases or cases that are still under investigations. And I think just the presentation itself stimulates a lot of discussions about what needs to be done, and how can we unlock some of the constraints in order to expedite the cases. And thank you very much for that, Lieutenant General. Yes, I think we must proceed forward and receive the second presentation from the SIU. If Advocate Mutibi is in the platform, over to you.
Chairperson, just on a point of order, I'm sorry to have to do this.
Yes,
Thank you, Chair. I do apologize to have to do this. Chairperson, I have just noted that the department has invited various of the municipalities of which the extended caucuses are attending. I just want to, because I anticipate from previous experience what might happen, and I just want to ask you that this is an opportunity for Parliament to engage with the SIU, the Hawks, and the Director of Public Prosecution. I would like to ask that at least our time to engage with these three entities be protected, and that it does not end up being an opportunity for the municipalities to defend whatever is before us. It's always funny when people steal, they steal alone, but when they have to account, they bring the world and his mother with to come and account with them. They will get the opportunity in courts to actually put their cases. I don't think we need to open up that over here. So please, can our time be, when we get to that point, our time be protected, that we as Parliament have the opportunity to engage with these three entities. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much. But don't worry, we will handle that. It was quite important that we invite these municipalities because all of these things happened in their areas of jurisdiction. And some of the questions are asked, what has happened with that and that and that case? In them to this session, it will help them to know and understand progress in respect of those particular cases which affect their municipalities, not necessarily coming in to ask questions and to engage, but I'm sure we'll see when we cross that bridge if there is any necessity, but we'll restrict that in a way that will ensure that this meeting is productive and it produces the necessary results. Over to you, Advocate Mutibi, or the rep, if you are there already.
Thank you very much, Chairperson and members of the Select Committee on COGTA. My name is Keiza Khanyago. I am representing the advocate. The advocate is out of the country on official business, and he has requested me to step in for him. And with me, I've got the provincial head of the Free State, Ms. Ma Shabalala. And then with her is the principal forensic lawyer, Mr. Katlego Lensui, who is also in the platform. Let me go straight into the presentation. Next page. Our outline is as follows. We've got legislative mandate, vision, mission, consequence management, strategic focus, and then we go into the investigations as stipulated by municipality in terms of finalized investigations, ongoing investigation, motivation for proclamation of the, and then motivation for that are being drafted. I will take the first part and then I'll ask the head of the province in the Free State to deal with the investigation part. Next page. Our legislative mandate, as we always indicate, is primarily governed by the Special Investigating Units and Special Tribunals Act 1996, Act 74, 1996, Criminal Procedure Act, and the Prevention of Combating of Corruption, Corrupt Activities, wherein our major function is to investigate corruption, malpractice, and maladministration. Secondly, is to institute civil proceeding in our name or on behalf of other institutions. Next page. Our vision is very clear that we want to be the state's preferred and trusted anti-corruption and forensic investigation litigation agency. And being preferred means we have got to show to all of you as government institutions that we'll be able to deliver the work that we are going to do for you so that when you think about investigation that relates to anti-corruption, you will think of the SIU as part of those investigations. I will not go into a lot of this except to say that one of the values that we treasure a lot is the value of integrity, and integrity is at the center of everything that we do. Next slide. And in terms of consequence management, we are very clear that whenever we have done investigations, we want to see consequence management being applied. And we do it using these pillars that you see there: civil litigation, where we take the matters to court, either to the normal courts or to the special tribunal. And then we also refer other matters for disciplinary action to the state institutions. And then we refer some of the work to the prosecuting authority, and also other regulatory bodies like SARS and many others, the Competition Commission and so on. But at the bottom of that, there is a black line there that says systematic recommendations. We don't only just come in. After we have finished the investigation, we then look at the systems and we say, what are the things that made sure that whatever happened, and how can we resolve them? And we make sure that the municipality remains with that so that they can rectify the issues. Next slide. And these are the strategic focus areas. I will just pick some of them just to basically say on the previous one, Sma, we improved turnaround times. Obviously, we have always had issues around investigations taking too long. We have turned that around, as people might have seen, in relation to the PPEs, where we're able to turn it around and make sure that it is done with the shortest time possible. And that is the mandate that we have given to ourselves. And we will make sure that we deliver on that at all times. Next slide. The next one, I don't want to go there. This is where I will give over to the provincial head of the Free State, so who will then take us through the investigations that they are dealing with from here. Sma, you can take over. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Khanyago, Honorable Chair, honorable members and colleagues. Good morning. Firstly, I'm going to start with the next slide, which deals with finalized investigations. As you can see, we have Kopanong local municipality, which we investigated that under Proclamation R58 of 2011. And with the focus of the investigation, it was for a procurement of consulting or related services by or on behalf of the municipality and related expenditure incurred in the manner that was actually contrary to Section 217 of the Constitution. We also looked at the related unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure, losses or prejudice suffered by the municipality. And in the period of that investigation, it was for a period of the 1st of July 2006 to the 31st of March 2009. We have made an NPA referral amongst other remedial referrals that we've made. And I think from the DPCI's presentation, the Lieutenant General did indicate that this one is actually being investigated in collaboration with us. So that's what I've stated there under the status. The next matter, it's Lijoli-Putswa District Municipality, which was actually investigated under Proclamation R23 of 2020. The focus of the investigation, it was again the procurement of or contracting of goods, works and services during or in respect of the national state of the disaster, and any unrelated, unauthorized, irregular or fruitless and wasteful expenditure that actually was incurred by the state. The period of the investigation, it was for the 1st of January 2020 to the 13th of July 2020. We have made one referral to the NPA, and the status of this NPA referral, it's still unknown, but I think my head of investigation, who is not in this meeting, is actually in contact with the DPCI and also SCCU, and they did acknowledge receipt, and it's in their book. Of hopefully next time they will actually provide feedback on the status of this one. The next slide is actually dealing with our ongoing investigations. We are also investigating Maluti Apofung, a municipality, under R27 of 2020. And the focus of our investigation is the procurement or contracting of services by or on behalf of the municipality and payments made in respect thereof. That was actually contrary to Section 217 and other applicable legislations. However, our investigation is specifically, it's related to those outlined bids numbers that are appearing here, which is for the events management.
Yeah, so it's Mingi. Mingi.
Yeah, who's Mingi here? Hey. Lindiwe Makhalemela. Please, Lindiwe. Thank you. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Yes, and the second bit that we also, it's currently under investigation. It's the one that deals with compilation of a register of the indigents and also maladministration in connection with the affairs of the municipality in respect of the incurrence by the municipality of fruitless and wasteful expenditure during the periods that appears, which is 2012 to 2024 to 2014 and 2016 and 2017. Insofar as Maluti Apofung is concerned, investigation, Honorable Chair, this one is still, investigation is still ongoing. The evidence pointing to criminal conduct in respect of both procurement processes have been identified. Evidence is being reviewed for purposes of remedial action, including referrals to the NPA. However, some of these referrals will be done before the end of June, and we will, whenever we do our referrals, we do it to the national NDPP and also in the local DPP. And then now I will be dealing with the motivations which are currently with the DOJ. We've received as well allegations insofar as the Shabeng municipality and Tokologo local municipality, is concerned. And those allegations, they purely involve maladministration, corruption, and procurement irregularities. And they have been now with the Department of Justice, and soon will be signed off by the presidency, and then we can kickstart the investigation. And just last one, again, there's also one allegation insofar as Mokaka local municipality is concerned that we have also received, which we are currently busy now with. We are drafting the motivation and will soon be again submitted to DOJ. Again, the allegations that we've received, they involve maladministration, corruption, and procurement irregularities. Challenges and proposed interventions, Honorable Chair. Referrals that are made by the SIU to the NPA are no longer within the SIU's control once referred. However, the SIU continues to support the criminal investigations by providing relevant evidence, and we also go through to testify when needs be. And the SIU has a close working relationship with the other stakeholders, such as the DPP, NPA, and the DPCI in the province. And therefore, we are able to monitor and support the SIU referrals, which normally end up being dealt with by the DPCI. And to enable the SIU to support criminal investigations dealt with by the DPCI, the SIU copies the head of the DPCI in the province when matters are actually referred to the NDPP. So thank you so much, Honorable Chair. That is the SIU presentation.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairperson. I think these are the investigations that we are busy with, and we will be available to take questions when needed to do so. And the team will participate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaiser Kanyaho, as well as Ms. Chabalala, for sharing the information with us. We thought perhaps you were also going to focus on the PPE investigations in respect of different municipalities, but I can see here you only dealt with the Lejolipuzo one, but it's okay. We'll find a way of getting that information as well in respect of the overall investigation on the PPEs in the municipalities, but it's okay. It's not a train smash, but we're thankful, very, very thankful for the information that you shared with us this morning. The last one is to invite the head of the NPA, Advocate Shamila Batoy, to take the floor to speak to us about progress in respect of the cases. Over to you, Advocate, and thank you very much once more for attending this meeting.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, Honorable Chair and Honorable members. Firstly, Chair, let me take the opportunity to thank you and the committee for accommodating the NPA when we had another very important meeting that we couldn't make the previous date. So to you, as well as to colleagues online, partners, thank you very much for being able to accommodate. Chair, as usual, you know, the NPA takes its accountability function very, very seriously. And, you know, therefore, accounting to Parliament is in effect accounting to the people of South Africa. So this, in our view, is a very important function. We certainly hope that it would have been great if previous administrations and parliaments took this as seriously as the current one, because I think we might not be in the state that our country is currently. But we want to, in this particular presentation, we are, of course, dealing with municipal cases in the Free State. I'm joined in this presentation, before we move the slides, I'm not sure who's, yeah, we can just leave it there, just a small introduction. I'm joined in this delegation, Honorable Chair members, by senior officials. Advocate Rodney de Kock regrettably had to travel and is not able to join us. He's the Deputy National Director in charge of the National Prosecution Service that deals with the prosecutions. But the Director of Public Prosecutions in Free State, Advocate Navila Sumaru, will be doing the presentation in his absence. And she will be here with any members of her team, as well as the Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Rabaji Rastava, who is the head of the Asset Forfeiture Unit and who will be dealing with that aspect of the presentation. Honorable Chair, honorable members, it's the first time that we are appearing before this particular committee. We've appeared before other select committees. And so we want to make the point now that you will see that there is progress happening in this space. It has been a very, very challenging 3 years and a bit since well, certainly since I took office. And so there's been steady progress being made by the NPA as well as its partners, in particular with regard to municipal matters, the DPCI and the SIU. And Chair, the challenge of resources was always an issue, but we had vigorously capacitated in order to be able to deal with this. And so there's been a lot of work that's been done in this space. The NPA now has a full leadership team, including permanent appointments in the regions, including in the Free State, with the permanent DPP, Advocate Sumaru, who's currently there. And so, Chair, I do want to say that you will see from the presentation that we make that there's steady progress across all provinces. It's as this committee is fully aware that the impact of corruption, and I'm going to also take the opportunity because I heard the previous speaker say that there are many members of municipalities that are on this platform. The impact of where we are here currently is because of the complete failure on the part of municipalities to do their work properly and to ensure that there are systems and processes in place that do not allow for corruption to take place. And it's actually, our constrained resources now are really being stretched to the limit because of the lack of systems and controls in municipalities to deal with these issues. Our national anti-corruption strategy deals specifically with the proactive part of it, because if things are done properly upstream, then law enforcement will not be burdened with this downstream. And it costs us a lot of money. So in addition to the money that has been lost because of the failure of municipalities, it's costing the country even more money now to hold people accountable, as well as with regard to asset recovery, to try to bring back the stolen money. And Chair, I want to say at this point, we must talk about, I think, Chair, when we reported to yourself under your chairpersonship, I think it was the Northwest, the Select Committee, we did raise the concern about giving too much of information in these sessions with regard to investigations. Once a matter is in court, it's a different matter. But with regard to investigations, there are serious risks publicly making this kind of information, or making this kind of information public. And so even though there's no names with regard to particular investigations, I think people that have been involved in the awarding of contracts, etc., with regard to particular types of services in particular municipalities are very well aware of who they are. And so I feel very concerned, and I think I'm going to have to speak to General De Beer again, and yourselves as chairpersons of committees, to really find a very good balance between the accountability role and function and our accountability to Parliament, which we take very, very seriously and which is very important, balancing that against alerting potential suspects to investigations that are continuing. And it can have all kinds of negative implications for investigations, and then, of course, for prosecutions at the end of the road, and for asset recovery. So we really need to think about this carefully in terms of how we strike this balance. It's a very, very important aspect. Honorable Chair, honorable members, you will note in this presentation that the numbers are increasing. And we also deal with a couple of cases that have been finalized, where you will note that direct imprisonment, sentences of direct imprisonment are being handed down to the accused. And from the asset recovery presentation, you will note that there has been millions of rands that has been recovered. But of course, there's still a lot more work that needs to happen in this space. Chair, I just want to also mention at this stage that we've recently had a 3-day workshop with the DPCI, members of the DPCI, and members of the NPA, looking at how we collectively organize ourselves to focus on high-level corruption. And many municipalities will also be involved in that space. And so there's a lot that's being put in place to ensure very, very close collaboration between the DPCI and the NPA to ensure that cases move more swiftly through the system. We can move to the next slide, please. Thank you. We can move to the next one after this. So this presentation was circulated, Honorable Chair, honorable members. I'm not going to go through the mandate of the NPA. If we can move to the next slide. It also basically, maybe I should mention that we do have a unit in the NPA called the Specialized Commercial Crime Unit, the SCCU, and the primary mandate of the SCCU in the NPA is to deal with complex corruption matters. But of course, Chair, you also aware that we do have the recently established investigating directorate also deals with very high level complex corruption, in particular state capture. But this is a unit that deals with the DPCI, mainly in the context of dealing with municipal cases. Also the asset forfeiture unit, and you'll notice the names of the Deputy National Directors, Advocate de Kock, in terms of in respect of NPS, and Advocate Rabaji Rastava with regard to AFU, and she will present later. Next slide, please. Chair, just to mention to this committee the way the referrals work. The SIU, as my colleague who presented for the SIU mentioned, that in terms of the SIU Act, the SIU is required to refer matters to the NPA once there's the evidence points to the possible commission of an offense. But of course, the NPA, besides the investigating directorate recently established that deals with very high-level state capture matters, the NPA does not have an investigative capacity. So the matters that are referred to the NPA from the SIU actually are referred then to the DPCI, and you saw the presentation from the DPCI in terms of the investigation that they do, which is then sent to the NPA in order to ensure that there's an independent criminal investigation conducted by the DPCI, and the prosecutors then take the decision on whether to prosecute or not to prosecute matters. There has been an MOU that we have drafted. We did recognize, so although the Act, the legal framework provides for matters to be referred from the SIU to the NPA, practically the DPCI plays a critical role in ensuring accountability. So we are actually trying to get a tripartite MOU signed, and we are hoping that there will be some traction from the DPCI in that regard as we move forward. Chair, those are my brief words in terms of an introduction. I'm now going to hand over to the DPP of the Free State, Advocate Navila Sumaru, to take us through the presentation at this stage, Chair. Advocate Sumaru, are you ready? Where's Navila? Oh. I'm not seeing Advocate Sumaru. Colleagues in NPS? Thank you. There I see Advocate Sumaru. Okay. Please proceed. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. You are still muted. If you could unmute. I see you unmuted, but I don't hear you. I don't know, Honorable Chair, I'm not sure if you're able to hear. Is it on my side? Honorable Chair, I'm not able to hear Advocate Sumaru. I'm not sure if you can.
No, we can't hear her, Advocate. But
thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Advocate Sumaru, can you check your microphone? Can your technical people assist you, because you are unmuted? I see that, but we're not able to hear you. Now you're muted. Now you're unmuted. We can't hear you. So it's your microphone. I'm not a technical expert, but it seems like there's a problem with your microphone.
We can't hear her totally.
I can't hear her either. Chair, I'm sorry about this. Advocate Sumaru is presenting from the Free State, so we're not able to do anything from Pretoria. So we need to please check please, we apologize for this, Honorable Chair, but these are some of the challenges with.
No, we will wait. Don't worry. Let her try her best. We'll wait a bit because this is very important.
Thank you, Chair. Do you think he'll be able?
Chairperson.
Yeah.
We have made advocate a co-host who can proceed. She's now a co-host.
Okay, let her try her best.
Yes, thank you, Chair. If she's not able to, we might need to ask one of our colleagues at head office here who assisted with the presentation to do the presentation. So I'm going to ask Advocate Skitter to be on standby. If we fail with Advocate Sumaru, you might need to do the presentation. I hope that's okay. I think he needs to connect quickly, but he's trying to. Advocate Skitter, are you online? Are you connected? We're trying to call Advocate Skitter as well, Chair, just to check that he can step in.
No problem. But
thank you, Chair. We'll just be a few minutes.
I can do the presentation. What's the presentation? The report. It's not for discussion because some of the cases they are very much sensitive.
In the meantime, Councillor Molawa, can you please at all material times check your mic?
Sorry, morning NDPP, can you hear me?
Sorry.
Yes, please.
Yanni, we can hear you. Are you in a position to present because we are having problem with the Free State connection?
Yes, it's fine. Sorry, NDPP. I also had a problem. I have got 2 laptops here in the office at the moment.
Okay.
So that's why I stopped sharing because I also had problems with the microphone. And
yes, I know you flighting the presentation. Are you able to flight it again?
Yes,
and present?
Flight it again, and then I'll just quickly present.
Okay. Okay, thank you. There you go.
Okay, if I can then proceed, sorry.
Yeah. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. In the Free State, there's very good stakeholder relationships and often meetings, regular meetings between all the stakeholders. They also adopt a multidisciplinary stance and follow a lot of project management methodology in addressing all of the corruption cases, but in particular also the municipality cases. There was also a procurement task team created specifically with regard to the municipal cases, which were headed by the acting head of the SCCU in the Free State, Advocate Anton, and 5 other dedicated prosecutors. And they've also incorporated some of the regional court prosecutors likely to assist and to try and mentor and train them and giving them the exposure of these technical and highly complicated and complex commercial crime cases. there's a lot of the municipal cases that relates not only to the fraud and corruption, but also to the Municipal Financial Management Act. And some of those also come from the Auditor General's office, not only from the SIU or from the DPCI. When we get to the presentation itself, you will also see, Chair, that some of the matters are not always falling within the DPCI framework, and a lot of them obviously also don't fall within the SIU framework. Most of the modus operandi in these cases are similar, especially when they relate to tender processes, and there's a lot of abuse by senior public servants within the municipality. So we often have contraventions by the municipal managers, by the chief financial officers, and people in crucial positions that commit these offences. Just to give you a breakdown of the matters, we started off with a comparison of the cases submitted by the DPCI, which were 42 cases. From those 42 cases, we've realized that 10 of them are still within the DPCI space under investigation, which we have not as yet received by the SSCU in Free State. Apart from those, we've got 20 additional matters. So that gives us the 32 from the DPCI and 20 other matters, which makes it 52 matters in our SSCU space in the Free State. Of those matters, we've got 13, which is 22% that are already in court. 44 of them are under investigation, and then 3 of the matters have already been finalized. Just to give you a breakdown and a sense of the different municipalities, we've provided a view in this graph of all the municipalities. If I'm not mistaken, you've got approximately 19 different municipalities within the Free State. And there you can see there's 4 municipalities who do not have any criminal matters at this point outstanding within NPA or DPCI space, and those are the Tshwelopele local municipality, the Tlokologo local municipality, Pumalela, and then Mukaka local municipalities. However, you can, in contrast, also see the 3 main areas of concern within the municipalities, mainly the Dislabing local municipality, where there's 14 matters outstanding. The Maluti and Phokeng one has got 12 matters, and then the third highest is the Machabeng local municipality. On average, the municipalities has got about 3 matters each outstanding against them, and there's only the 3 that has got more than 5 matters. On the next slide, we try to look at the progress of these cases and divided it into those matters from the previous slide that are in court, the number that are under investigation, and the number of cases finalized. And you will recall on the earlier slide, we did present that there's only 3 matters finalized. So most of the cases are in fact still under investigation, and immediately I have to pause and draw your attention to the fact, that several of these matters relate not only to one individual incident and not only one person that was involved. So there's several entities, and some of them involved, a lot of witnesses, and therefore the investigation often takes quite some time. So therefore, on the right-hand side in that table, you will see we've tried to give you an understanding of the age of the cases under investigation, and you'll see cases that was registered. So you'll see the first column relates to the year the docket was opened. So 6 of the cases were opened recently in this particular year. The majority of them in last year, 14, which is 31%. The year before that, which makes those cases approximately a year and a half old, is 8 cases. 2019 is 6 cases, 2018, 8 cases, and 2017 is 3 cases. So you can see that there's a lot of work being done, and there's not a lot of old matters. There are number 3 from 2017, but since 2018, which gives us about 3.5 years for matters that are under investigation, if we take the complexity of these matters. And you must also remember some of these matters, it takes maybe sometimes a year for the DPCI to finalize their internal investigations before it is submitted to the NPA, and then it is transferred to the DPCI to open a case docket. And then the real investigation, if I may call it that way, actually starts, because then the affidavits needs to be taken, people needs to be warned before the statements are taken if they run the risk of incriminating themselves, so that they are aware of the fact not to incriminate themselves. And then also the admissibility of the evidence. You know, the burden of proof is different from the civil matters and the criminal matters. So some of your documentary evidence that you can present in a civil suit is not always allowed and admissible in the criminal prosecution. So we have got to ensure that your link of obtaining those evidence and the presenting of those evidence are available for the court cases. And that is why the criminal investigations take a bit longer than the civil investigations and the civil cases. We have provided a short outlay of the cases that are in fact older than 5 years. And there are 4 of these matters. 3 of them are already in court. And as the SIU indicated, when a matter is presented to the NPA, then it's basically out of their hands. And to a great extent, the same applies when we are taking a matter to the court, because then the presiding officer takes control of the court matter and is the person to decide whether adjournments will be allowed and what adjournments and for what extent of time the adjournments will be allowed. First of all, we've got the Molokwane local municipality matter, which has been remanded, and there you can see it's not that the matters are remanded for 1 or 2 dates. Dates are pre-arranged with the defense counsel and with the court and set aside on numerous occasions so as to fast track these cases and to try and get as much of the witnesses to testify and evidence to be provided in the court as possible. This particular docket, you'll see, is already 14 years old, and that is why it is getting a lot of attention, not only by the prosecution, but also by the court, to try and get the matter to finalization. The Ngwati municipality matter has been set down from the 29th of August for trial. And that relates also to DPCI. If you want to have more details of the cases, we've included the column there to indicate just the DPCI slide numbers to which it relates. And then the third one is the e-bucket eradication program. Now, why it's not mentioned there to link to a specific municipality is there's multiple municipalities involved in that matter, and that is why that particular matter is already 10 years old, but it's not as yet been enrolled in court. because initially it started with 1 or 2 municipalities. And as the investigation proceeded, they've realized, but listen, multiple municipalities have been involved. If I'm not mistaken, it also related to some of the toilet tenders at the municipalities. The last matter we've got is the Nketwana local municipality, which is also set down for trial from the 11th of August. Why we've had this one on a separate page is in this particular matter, one of the legs has already been finalized, where the former mayor, which was accused one, as well as the chief financial officer, which was also the acting municipal manager at the time of the offense, were convicted and sentenced on the 7th of December last year. And I'm not going to repeat all the sentences, but you can see there quite some time of imprisonment which they need to serve for these offences. And that is also one of the reasons why those matters that are in court, you know, the Defence Counsel are trying everything to try and see if there's not a loophole which they can find to get away, because they know they are looking at long-term imprisonment that will be imposed when they are convicted. On leg 2, there was also a sentence recently last month on the 24th of May, where 50,000 rand fine and 3 years suspended. That particular accused will also testify against those that are still in court on the 3rd leg, and which will be coming to court in August. See? Then, as far as the asset recovery is concerned.
Sorry, Advocate Skitter, sorry, these 2 slides, if asset forfeiture colleagues will deal with it. Honorable Chair, Advocate Rabaji Rastava was going to do it, but she's regrettably unwell, but she is here. But her director will, Advocate Beseswa will present these 2 slides, and then Advocate Skitter, you can come back to deal with any remaining slides.
Yanni, can you hear me?
Sorry, Navilla, if you can mute, please. We can hear you as well.
Okay, thank you.
You can call Yanni offline and speak to him. Advocate Beseswa, please come through. Thank you, NDPP and Chair. I will just take a minute or 2 to just introduce the AFU. The AFU relies on the provisions of chapters 5 and 6 of the Prevention of Organized Crime Act of 1998 for its criminal and or civil procedure, civil forfeiture recoveries. The AFU within the NPA does not have any criminal powers. In that, I mean, we cannot conduct criminal investigations, and hence we are dependent on our stakeholders. With our stakeholders, example, the other law enforcement agencies, to conduct those investigations on behalf of the AFU. The DPCI and the SAPS plays a very big role in conducting such investigations, and such evidence is used in supporting AFU applications. We are also dependent on various third parties in order to bring our matters to court. And in this, I mean the courts for setting down the civil cases, and the defendants will play a very big role in finalization of the matters. Slide 12 speaks about 2 matters where the AFU has obtained freezing and forfeiture orders. The first matter being Lady Brunt, where the AFU obtained a preservation, which is a freezing order, and a forfeiture order to the value of 901,000 Rand. And the monies were paid over to the municipality just last month, May 2022. In the Ritz case, there were 2 legs. The AFU then obtained orders in both the legs. In the first leg, the AFU obtained a confiscation order to the amount of 364,000 in December 2021, and we've already recovered 300,000 during January, which was paid back to the municipality. When I say recovered, we have realized the confiscation order and the actual funds were realized to be paid back. On the second leg, we obtained a confiscation order to the value of 50,000, and we are in the process of recovering the amounts to be paid back to the municipality. The next slide. On the next slide, we briefly speak about our capacity as the asset forfeiture unit within the Free State. Over the past 12 years, the AFU regional office in the Free State obtained the following orders. We've obtained 12 freezing orders, which is 8 preservations, meaning civil based on Chapter 6, and 4 restraints to the value of 390 million. The largest restraint we have obtained in a municipality case is in the Marang estate matter to the value of 340 million. However, I did mention this matter. It is a Northwest matter, but was handled by our Free State office to illustrate we have enough capacity in the Free State office to deal with matters emanating in the Free State. We have obtained 9 forfeiture and confiscation orders to the value of 7.9 million and recoveries in the amount of 7.9, with 7.8 million returned to municipalities and 25,000 paid to the criminal assets recovery account. Thank you, NDPP. Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, Advocate Beswesa. Advocate Skitter, is there any, are there any other matters you need to deal with, or is that the end of the NPS presentation? I think it is. There's some challenges. I don't hear Advocate
NDPP,
Skitter.
I can come in here.
Yes,
NDPP, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Advocate tomorrow, maybe you can conclude on the challenges. I'm great. I'm glad you could join.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, NDPP. Good morning to the chairperson of the committee members, all stakeholders, and colleagues present on this call. I am Navila Sumaru, the DPP of the Free State, and together with me is Advocate Eugene Ontong, our acting head of the SCCU, the Specialized Commercial Crime Unit in the Free State. I am very sorry for the technical glitch that occurred earlier. I was not able to hear or see anything, but fortunately, I am now back online, and I'm also happy to take questions that will follow. Just very briefly, if I could touch on the challenges that we face with these type of cases. As alluded to by our NDPP earlier, these cases, procurement cases as we refer to them, they're very, very technical and voluminous. One case can easily comprise thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pages of evidence. So the state has to rely largely on documentary evidence, various types of documents in order to successfully prove its case in court. It can be said that procurement prosecution is a highly specialized field and requires a unique skill from both investigators as well as the prosecutors. One of our very big challenges, and I'm sure it is not endemic to the Free State, we would find this challenge throughout our country, is that the bulk of our witnesses are actually in the employ of the particular municipality. And we find that very often they're reluctant to cooperate with the state due to fear of reprisal. They do not want to be victimized. They do not want to lose their jobs, etc. So, you know, that is a huge challenge that is faced by SAPS and the DPCI in order to obtain documents. We have also found in the Free State that witnesses who do cooperate with the state end up being suspended for very little incidents, or they get shunted around from municipality to municipality throughout the province. Now, when their colleagues see this happening to them, this induces a greater sense of fear in many of the witnesses who are municipal officials. In addition, As soon as the complicit officials within the municipalities become aware of investigations against them and the municipality, and that is what our NTPP talked to earlier by saying that, you know, we have to be so careful in the manner in which we approach these presentations. The moment these officials become aware of the investigations, they either hide the relevant documents, they destroy it, and then it becomes very difficult for the state to prove its case because it is reliant on the documents that are in the possession of the municipality. In addition, these cases take a very long time to investigate, not only due to complexity, but we are reliant on the cell phone service providers. We are reliant on banks for documents. And very often, there's a very particular modus operandi that are used by the municipal officials. Monies are moved from bank accounts to bank accounts. The bank accounts are then closed, and then the trail becomes a little bit difficult to follow. We have also found that due to the workload, as presented by my colleague earlier, Yanni Skitter, we are looking at in excess of 60 matters, and we'll find that one investigator will be carrying many dockets, not only of municipal matters, but other dockets as well. And, you know, this does lead to a little bit of a challenge. And we have also found, as in one of our particular matters, when these cases do end up on the court roll, the accused employ all sorts of delaying tactics. For example, we've got a matter that was enrolled in 2013. Up to date, it has not come to trial. The accused has employed all sorts of interlocutory applications. It has gone to the High Court and the Supreme Court of Appeal twice. And this really, really impacts on us bringing these matters to trial as soon as possible. If I may just state in my closing remarks, from the slides that have been presented by my stakeholders, the DPCI, SIU, it will be very clear to this panel that our municipal matters are receiving priority attention. The average age of these dockets is 3 years. We have very few matters that are older than 5 years, and these are the ones that I alluded to.
Just hold on a bit. There is no Kufa from Nala, the Nala acting municipal manager. No Kufa. There is no Kufa from Nala, please. Okay, thank you. You can proceed. I'm sorry for that.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairperson. Are you able to hear me clearly now?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. As I've alluded to earlier, that we do have matters, but some of them are on the court roll for longer than 5 years because of the delaying tactics that have been employed by the accused, because they know full well that very lengthy terms of imprisonment await them, as has been indicated with our matters that are finalized. All of them have been sentenced to lengthy terms of imprisonment. I wish to also reiterate that we have dedicated and experienced prosecutors within the SCCU who are specifically dealing with our municipal matters, our cases, headed by Advocate Anton. We have allocated 5 dedicated prosecutors who are handling these matters and working very, very closely with DPCI, SIU to ensure that we have quality prosecutions when these matters are enrolled. In addition, I also want to reiterate to this panel that before the end of the week, we are going to enroll another 2 more matters. And before the end of August, we are also going to be enrolling another few more matters. I'm not going to indicate which ones, but warrants of arrest have already been signed. So we are looking at over more than 20 matters that are going to be enrolled on the court, on our court soon. In addition, Chairperson, as well as our NDPP, I want to just stress that we have a very vigorous ACTT meeting as well as our anti-corruption forum. We sit every month. We also sit on an ad hoc basis to discuss the development on a case-by-case basis. In fact, Even today, a meeting is taking place between the prosecutors and the investigators to look at every single matter that we have and to see how we can fast track them, whether documents are outstanding, look at the challenges, the loopholes, and to try to address this matter in a very high level and prioritized fashion. So that is all that I can say from my side, and I'm happy to take questions going forward. Thank you very much, Chairperson and NDPP.
Thank you very much, Advocate Sumaro and Advocate Schutte for stepping in. Chair, in final conclusion from the NPA side, let me say very clearly that impunity is no longer a given, and that is the reality. You will note from Advocate Sumaro's presentations that there are many other imminent cases that will be enrolled. There's a lot of really hard work going in terms of the skills that Advocate Sumaro talked about, one of the challenges, but we've really done a lot of work in terms of getting contract prosecutors on board and getting people with the relevant skills, even from the SCCU, our regional court prosecutors, but we've had many experienced regional court prosecutors, not in the SCCU, but in the other regional courts. So what we're doing now is bringing in those prosecutors to work on these types of cases so that we get really those prosecutors with a lot of skills in these matters that are able to deal with these cases. One of the challenges that Advocate Sumaro mentioned, which is something that the municipal managers on this call or those other MECs, etc., should look at is the challenges of evidence disappearing within municipalities. That is a serious concern, and there should be systems and processes put in place to ensure that there's evidence in the municipalities are properly protected, because that is at the end of the day something that will determine the success of cases or not. So I think there's a huge responsibility of those in charge of municipalities now to work very closely with law enforcement to ensure that we're able to get the evidence quickly, the evidence that we need to bring these cases to court. Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members. That is the presentation from the NPA.
Yes, thank you very much, Advocate. Very, very incisive, persuasive, clear about the work that you do. Thank you very much for that. We really appreciate. And as I said, we really appreciate your presence to this kind of meetings. Having said that, can I now open the floor, invite members of parliament to engage with the presentations? Over to you, honorable members. I see the hand of Honorable Mikalakis, followed by Honorable Sheikh, followed by Honorable Kleinhans. Yes, let's start with the three first, and then we'll take it from there. Over to you, Honorable Mikalakis.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you to those who presented for the work that has been done. I think, Chairperson, if there is anything that will restore faith in our criminal justice system, it would be if we actually see some progress here, which we have been indicated here and there. There are cases, but I mean, I made a tally of just the amount that is investigated by the Hawks itself, and that's just over or just under 700 million rand, and it's municipal money, things that could have brought water, sewage, houses, streetlights, things like that. So it is quite shocking. Chairperson, I just have a few questions with regards to the presentation from the Hawks. The NPA indicated what their challenges are with regards to delays, but I didn't get the same from your presentation. Are the delays in your investigation caused by a lack of cooperation from those municipalities? Is it due to a lack of resources? What are the factors that actually contribute to the delays on your side? I do see that there is a case, for example, from 2012 still outstanding, and it is quite difficult to believe, and I would just like to get some clarity on that. There's another striking thing that was said by the Hawks, and that was that there is one, for example, one person being investigated who was moved from the one municipality to the other municipality, and we know this goes on. It's a consequence of cadre deployment. I also know, for example, the former MM from Nala municipality was at some point appointed by the provincial government as the administrator in one municipality in my constituency. So it's not just on a local municipal level, they also get deployed and redeployed from a provincial level as well. Is this moving of people from one municipality to the next general tendency that you can see as the Hawks within your investigations as well? Then a lot of the time I pick up that when we want to open cases against municipal officials for corruption, we don't always get the cooperation from the local SAPs. They are very reluctant, either because they are working with the municipalities, or because they, for some reason, fear the municipalities or the municipal officials to actually take steps. Is that your experience from SAPs and the investigation teams at local station level as well? I just need clarity on that. Then I have a few questions to the NDPP. I am quite concerned, but not surprised by the witnesses that are actually fearful to come forward. And I would like to hear your opinion on how such witnesses can be assisted. Should there not be, perhaps, Chairperson, also some mechanism from the provincial government side to, when people come forward, to be able to actually assist and protect them? Another problem is that I pick up, and I would like to hear from Mr. Duma in this instance, is that a lot of these people who are under investigation are still within the municipality. They are also still the seniors and the line managers of those who have actually reported them. And it is not a very healthy set of circumstances when your senior is still employed at the municipality, but you are a witness in the process. Last question or two, Chairperson, before I give to my colleagues, is a lot of the time you can destroy evidence in a municipality. But if you follow the money, a lot of the evidence comes out in that process. And a lot of the time, in my experience, proof in terms of finances always leaves some or other trail, although it takes quite a lot of time to investigate such things. The cyber forensic capacity within SAPS and within the Hawks, what challenges, because I know they are quite under-resourced, what challenges that they experience is currently seriously hampering the progress made in these investigations? And is it something that we should be looking at to make sure that we capacitate SAPs in terms of those specialized knowledge, specifically cyber capacity, to assist them to be able to conduct the investigations better? Chairperson, for now, those would be my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Migalakis. Honorable Sheikh, if you are there.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chairperson. And my apologies for the camera. I'm also not feeling very well, but be that as it may, let me also join you, Chairperson, in terms of appreciating the various presentations as well as the details that came out of those presentations. And also to say that I think it's important that we root out corruption, as well as improve confidence in our criminal justice system. And obviously, I think what the National Director of Public Prosecution has cautioned us, I think is important, especially around the sensitivity of providing too much details in terms of the investigations. That being said, Chair, I think just in terms of the Free State COGTA presentation, Chair, Chair will note that in our previous engagement with the the province. The presentation that was given to us obviously was meant to focus on Section 106 investigations, but I think what has become clear in terms of today's presentations is that these were not just Section 106 investigations that were given to us. So perhaps they need to provide us with a presentation which clearly also focuses on these Section 106 investigations. Chair, I think with regard to the presentation by the DPCI or the Hawks, I think Honorable Mikulakis has covered me to some extent. But firstly, to say that I'm not sure, Chair, but I didn't necessarily receive the presentation with the details. So I'm not sure how that happened, but if we can get a copy of that. But I think as indicated also by Honorable Mikulakis, that it's not clear what the challenges are being experienced by the DPCI. I think as you look at their presentation, there have been referrals to the DPCI from as far back as 2011 and 2012, as well as 2018. And these matters are still under investigation. So perhaps we should get some clarity around that. And I think with regard to the SIU and the NDPP presentation, or specifically the NDPP presentation, Chair, I think in their challenges, they do raise issues around procurement, prosecution, which requires specialized Chair, I think around this one, as well as the work caseloads, I think perhaps if we could get clarity in terms of how these matters are being dealt with. But also, Chair, I think all the presentations have made some kind of representation around coordination or engagement between the NPA, the SIU, and the DPCI, perhaps, and I would imagine, and this is also to address operational challenges. But I know in our engagements with the NPA previously, I mean, these were things that were being dealt with at the national level. Perhaps if we can get more clarity around how is this actually being done at a provincial level, as well as providing feedback, whether it's to the relevant provincial department and or entity, in the case of state-owned entities, etc. You know how these processes are managed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Sheikh. Honorable Kleinans.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you for allowing me to participate. Chairperson, I just have a question or a couple of questions for the SIU. In slide 3 of their presentation, they speak about they are able to subpoena, search, and seize evidence once a proclamation has been issued. So my question is, who issues the proclamation? And then the other question is on slide 10 of the SIU presentation, where it speaks about an investigation done in Kopanong, Proclamation R58 of 2011. And it states that this was referred to the NPA on the 18th of November 2013, and the status of this criminal referral is unknown. Now, I'm not sure whether the NPA might have referred to this matter in their presentation, but because the SIU does say that they do follow up and monitor the referrals which they have done. So I would just like to know whether this one has actually been taken up by the NPA. And then a question to the NPA, and actually with reference to the Department of COGTA, which is present today. It is very clear that 3 municipalities stand out for the number of cases and investigations, and those are Machabeng, Maluti Apfung, and Dikhlabeng. And also in the NPA presentation, they refer to the abuse of office by senior public servants. Those would be your senior managers in the municipality who are colluding with service providers to siphon money from state coffers. So it does seem to me that that problem specifically is completely endemic in those 3 municipalities and very widespread all over the Free State. So I would like to ask COGTA in what way they feel that they will be able to empower councillors serving in councils all over the Free State to be able to detect these kind of things that go on within municipalities. Because obviously if your council is empowered and able to stop this nonsense at its root, but councillors, as we know, frequently have no experience of municipal matters and so on. So I would like COGTA to explain how they think that they will be able to empower councils to intensively monitor the supply chain units and contracts being issued and so on, because that seems to be the den of iniquity. Chairperson, and then I just also would like to know from any of the law enforcement agencies who feel they would like to respond, do we have any idea how many or what percentage or how many cases never go reported? Because we are looking here at all the things that did end up being investigated to a certain extent. But I mean, there must be, in light of the challenges highlighted by the NPA of intimidation and fear from witnesses and so on, there must be many, many more cases that are never reported and never investigated. And then I would also like to ask the law enforcement agencies present whether they believe that successful prosecutions will eventually deter these kind of activities from taking place in municipalities. Do they believe that these officials and corrupt people in municipalities would start to think twice about their actions? And then lastly, just a question, if there's any evidence of state capture or influence of the Guptas in any of these cases in the municipalities. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kleinans. Honorable Mutamai.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Chairperson, ke na le probleme mona ya kutlwa Mr. Duma a bua hore ba na le ho tshabisiwa go bolawa. Then ke ne ke batla ho botsa ba public prosecutor, director public prosecuting authority hore ha batho ba tshepisiwa go bolawa and the case tsena di tsaya nako e telele e kana-kana, ke eng e etsiwang mabapi le batho ba e leng gore ba involve mo corruption and the case di le mo pele ga court. E nngwe hape e ke batlang go e tseba go gore batho ba e leng gore ke di senior officials ba sebetsa le batho ba e leng ke di whistleblower, ba sebetsa jwang le bone ga di perpetrator le tsone tse tshwereng maemo a godimo go sena eng e etsiwang? A batho ba e leng gore ke di whistleblower ba na le matla a go sebetsa? E nngwe hape nne ke batla go e botsa ke ena, I want to understand something here. You are right to investigate PPE corruption, but COVID came in 2020, and like now there's a case here, Sarah, this thing here, Mr. Williams from SIU and Miss Ayushala Brenda, they are failing. I'm one of the people who exposed this corruption, but now they are failing to investigate this issue. When they get, I want the SIU to explain to me what, if they get to the Sarah office and they find that there's a big corruption there, and they've been given tea and bread and forget about the case. Cases are like reported March this year. What's happening with this case? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Musamai. Let me, before I proceed, apologize. I wasn't aware that the Deputy Minister of COGTA, Honorable Tembing Kadimeng, is also part of the meeting. We are grateful that she's here. And thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister, for always honoring our invites. I wasn't aware that you are here. At the end, I will afford you an opportunity to also make some interventions in the discussion that is ensuing. I've seen the hand of Mr. Duma Moketi. Let me hear what you've got to say so that before we proceed, maybe there's an issue that is quite important that you want to bring to our attention. Over to you, DDG. DDG, HOD, Duma Moketi.
Okay, no, thank you, Chair. I thought you were calling the DDG. No, thanks, Chair. I think in the issues that were raised, we have submitted our report in terms of those municipalities where we have invoked Section 106, and then including where the process has been completed and where we are still to go and make a follow-up. Unfortunately, one was not provided with an opportunity to present same report, but I think it is with your committee. If I'm required to present, I can present. But I just want to indicate that on all these matters where we have tabled our report in council with the remedial action and recommendation of what needs to be done on those findings we've actually made. Some councils are actually implementing those remedial actions. Some have not as yet started the process to implement, but in the main, equal to what Honorable Mutamai was actually asking. If you look at the two, I've actually disposed of affidavit on the two municipalities, which in essence creates a sort of a risk for one, because people who may be involved, because our findings do not necessarily pinpoint people, will just indicate what we have actually discovered and then some of the transaction without necessarily pinpointing the names. But if you have a situation where after having done that presentation, you get anonymous call that are not identified and you get such threats. So what should be the process? Because like I said, I had wanted to meet with the provincial head of the intelligence, Memachele, to actually present the plight, because I think my life is currently at risk because people think I'm doing this against them when in actual fact, I'm actually simply executing my responsibility in terms of what the law says. So we would like to be, or I would like to be, appraised. What are the measures that one must take to make sure that one's life is not put at risk? Thank you, Chair.
Yes. Yes, I've noted almost all the hands. I see Honorable Mikalakis. Yes. You want to say something, Honorable Mikalakis?
Chairperson, sorry, I neglected to ask just one question, if I may. It's not perhaps worth
just before that, Councillor Choteti, please mute your mic. Councillor Choteti, please. You are yes, please. Thank you.
My apologies, Chair. I just wanted to ask the Hawks if, and the other presentations that we received, I've seen absolutely nothing from Mangaung. Is that correct? Did I notice correct that there is currently not a case with regards to Mangaung under investigation anyway? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. As I indicated from the beginning, I wasn't going to give councils to speak, but this is a very good opportunity for councils, municipalities, to understand the seriousness and the magnitude of the problems that the law enforcement agencies are facing in respect of what is happening down there. But I see the hand of one councillor from Machabeng. He has raised his hand for a very long time. But in the absence of this hand, let me also make some reflections before we give over to the law enforcement agencies to give some responses. Firstly, as I indicated, I think this is a very, very good meeting, a very information sharing meeting that helps us to understand the complexities of the situation in terms of what the law enforcement agencies are doing. What is quite clear and evident is that the issues are complex, they are technical, they take a lot of time, but we have some concerns that some I will raise. Firstly, I don't understand to what extent do all the agencies give protection to whistleblowers. For me, this is very important, especially given what Advocate Batoy indicated, that if we give and share more information, we expose whistleblowers and witnesses. And this has happened in several instances. But what support do we give to whistleblowers when they need such support to ensure that they continue to help us in that respect? For me, it's an area that needs to be given attention. Secondly, again, this acting MM of Nala. Yo, can you mute, please? Yes. Secondly, there are a lot of cases that pertains to Regulation 32 of the Municipal Finance Management Act, MFMA. And I don't know, I want to be convinced otherwise. For me, this is when these transgressions happen, it becomes a very straightforward issue to deal with, but it is quite clear that in some cases, to resolve this or to attend to these matters, it takes about 5 to 6 years. For me, I can take a day, and I want you to say, no, it's not possible. In this case, if there is such a transgression, it means that a municipality has deviated. And in terms of this regulation, a municipality takes a contract that is in another agency of state, whether national, provincial, or municipal level. They use it without following the procurement processes as outlined in Section 217 of the Constitution. But before you do that as a municipality, there are suspensive conditions that you must fulfill. One that is straightforward is that the amount must be the same. If the amounts are not the same, it's a problem. And for me, I don't think that it is much difficult, and I want to be told what makes it so difficult. The scope of work must be the same. Clear. If the scope of work is not the same and the conditions thereof, it means that there is a transgression in respect of Regulation 32 of the MFMA. But thirdly, it is that a municipality that has that contract must consent to that. And it becomes very, very clear to get that information about consent. And if there are violations, you act immediately. But in this particular case, these matters, they take about 5 years or more. And that begs a question for me, because if that is a case on a simple matter, what about a complicated matter, complex matters? It means that they will happen perpetually without coming to a conclusion. And my question, therefore, in this case is why such cases, even such cases, are taking such a long time to resolve and to finalize, because quite clearly you can see where the transgressions are. And in the last few years, municipalities have done this with impunity, willy-nilly, and there's not been consequences against many municipalities that has deviated. And they do deviate. And there are instances in other municipalities where you have such cases. The third one, and I will reserve other questions, and the last one is the turnaround. Does any of these agencies have turnaround time to complete a case? I do understand the complexities, the technical nature of the process, as well as the fact that in other instances, one investigator is handling many dockets, which is a problem in itself, because in that instance, you need to ensure that you resource the necessary offices to expedite the process. But my question is, in this particular case, why don't you do that? And do you have a turnaround time to complete the cases that are before you? I'll end there in terms of my questions, given the time that we have, and allow some responses to the questions and comments, and thereafter we'll then come to afford the DM an opportunity to say something, and that will wrap up the discussions in terms of the way forward. Over to you, Lieutenant General. Let me start with you, Lieutenant General Musikili of the Hawks. Responses to your questions.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you to the committee members for those inputs, Chair. I take them as inputs rather than questions. I think the first matter, Chairperson, that I want to start with is the recent one on the turnaround time to complete the investigation. I will couple this with what you have already indicated in as far as the approach is concerned. Chairperson, in 2018, we decided as the Directorate, after establishing some challenges with the municipal cases, to establish a task team that is a national task team on clean audit that is continuing to work, and it is working in different municipalities, not only in the Free State. They are also having cases that they are investigating in that province. And this task team was as a result of the constraints that the Directorate is experiencing in terms of the capacity, as you are rightfully indicating, and I think the same was said by Honorable Mikalakis, that there are challenges in as far as the capacity is concerned within the Directorate, and to put the systems in place, Chairperson, to respond when these matters are reported, is to offload that load that will be overwhelming to one investigator, but to look at the issue of having a project type investigation, and to also get the task team that will work. Of course, there will be a main investigator in all or any other matter. However, to try to mitigate these challenges is to have a complete set of people that will focus and assist in that particular matter until it is a court-going matter. It is correct, Chairperson, that some of the cases are taking too long, and I think your indication is that on a straightforward cases, why does it take this long to investigate those particular cases? I need to indicate, I think all honorable members did highlight the fact that I did not indicate on the challenges that the Directorate is experiencing on this slide 4 of my presentation. I think the last 2 bullets were talking to the challenges and factors that are influencing the times to complete and conclude the investigation. And I need to add on the few that were captured on that 2 bullets, Chairperson, to indicate that one other matter that it's very difficult for us to finalize the cases timeously is to access information or to get the required documents by the investigators to ensure that the investigation is done timeously. And I am glad that our colleagues from different municipalities are in the platform that will, after this meeting, assist the provincial commander or provincial head of the Directorate, as well as the task team at national office, to avail documents as requested. I am sure that has been discussed in the local meeting or a meeting that was held between the Directorate and the local COGTA. If that was not highlighted, Chairperson, I think the provincial head is in the meeting, and that will be taken further to ensure that we do receive those documents that we do not have. If the committee deems it fit that on our next accounting session, we need to indicate name and shame a chairperson, we will do so that at least we do understand where challenges are and why are we not getting this. Municipalities can also account as to why are they not availing this document, that it's very clear that matters can be completed timeously. But I also need to indicate that, Chairperson, as we all know, that when the matters are referred to the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, it's because of their complicity. And as the Directorate is the apex on the investigation in the South African Police Service and of course in the country, what one will need to investigate matters fully to ensure that they are solid when they are presented in court. Hence, I indicated earlier that majority of the times within the Directorate, if it is not on a daily basis, a chairperson, it will be hourly, where there will be interaction between the investigators and the appointed dedicated prosecutors that are assisting in the guiding of the investigation, and of course without risking the investigation or even getting too much into the case. And I must say, since we have started with the system of PGI within the Directorate, we are seeing a lot of matters that are discussed in that platform, making their way to court and receiving a successful prosecution on them. Chairperson, going back to the questions of Honorable George Mikalakis, I think the first question that is the matter that was referred to the DPCI, it's what contributes to the delay, which I've already alluded to the issues of the complexity and the availability of required documents that will assist the investigation to be concluded timeously. The other matter, Chairperson, that was highlighted is to check if there is no matter that is in the Mangaung local municipality. The question is on the set of cases that we have presented. We do not have an issue currently that is under investigation in the Mangaung municipality, where the reflection is on a Park Road case. I did indicate earlier that it was reported in Mangaung. However, that matter relates to an incident that happened in Machabeng local municipality. Chairperson, I forgot when I started with the presentation to indicate that the head of the DPCI in the Free State province is also in the meeting, and where I do not have enough capacity to respond to other matters, I will request my colleague to come in, as well as the Provincial Commissioner of the Free State, who is also in attendance. The second question from Honorable Member George, it's on the issues of a person that moved from one municipality to the other, and whether this is posing a challenge to the investigation or the Directorate. What is highlighted on the slides is collusion of the two municipalities that I think it's more than two municipalities, and the main players, as we have seen that we are having three main municipalities that are contributing to a lot of cases. This is where you find some of the information that was given to another municipality from another municipality, and the appointment of the same person from Dishabeng as well as Manuti Apofung, and to some extent, including Machabeng, there are cases where you'll find a person that even when the municipality was aware that the case is in the High Court in regard to one of this person of interest, they proceeded to give motivation to another municipality to appoint the same person to be contracted by the municipality. I think this happened between Dihlabeng and Maluti-Apofu local municipalities. The other issue is cooperation between the Directorate, I suppose, and the stations, and how our matters been reported to the police station where the challenges will be experienced. As I indicated, the provincial commissioner is in the meeting. However, Chairperson, I need to indicate that we do not often get those challenges. On the presentation, you will see some of the matters will be recorded on the same date and be referred to the Directorate for investigation on the same date. On other matters that will be referred to the Directorate after some time, perhaps it will be because of the charges, because we do have investigation capacity within the police stations or in the province. We do have task teams. We do have units such as organized crime within the SAPS and serious organized crime within the Directorate. Some of the matters is because of the clarity that will then be given on the amount involved as per our mandate, that as and when the investigation is continuing and it is picked up that the amount involved exceeds the amount of cases that needs to be investigated by the SAPS, which I'm a member of course, but the investigation that is sitting with the detectives, then the matter will be escalated to the Directorate for further investigation. Lastly, Chairperson, yes, of course, we do have capacity constraints within the cyber crime space, and this it's something that from time to time we do indicate, not only in terms of personnel, but as well as the training that is sitting there. It's not long that we all move into 4IR. So what we are doing currently is to look at the capacitation. We have recently concluded the strategy in as far as cyber crime investigation is concerned, and our training wasn't very successful in the past COVID-19 years, wherein a lot of members did not attend training as we would want, or that capacity building workshops as we would want. However, we have partnered with a number of law enforcement agencies, including our foreign counterparts that are from time to time conducting these particular types of training and capacitating, and we do have information sharing sessions with other law enforcement agencies. Advocate Batoy did indicated earlier that there was recently a work session that was held between the prosecutors and the members of the Directorate, which was also trying to forge those relationships and ensure that we do get a particular capacity in terms of the knowledge and experience is concerned. And we are continuing to look at the capacity. There are a lot of other entities and organizations that came forward and reached out to the Directorate that they are intending to assist, especially on the issues of cybercrime and cyber capacity, to enable the investigators that we have to be capacitated. We also recently, with number of projects that were involved with, Chair, appointed the forensic investigation capacity within the Directorate. It's still in its infancy, and when as and when that branch it's properly capacitated, we are sure and optimistic that we are going to see some of the cases moving much faster than they were before we have considered this forensic capacity within ourselves, which are experienced people that are coming with the skills from the university and other environments. And I think the head of the forensic accounting investigation, it's also coming from Attorney General, and is bringing to the Directorate a wealth of experience and knowledge in as far as forensic accountability is concerned. Honorable Member Shaikh indicated the sensitivity. I think yourself, Chairperson, as well as Advocate Batoyi, we tried by all means, Chairperson, not to reflect the names of the individuals on matters that are still pending investigation. I must indicate that I have noted in one matter when such was done, and I want to indicate to the committee that it was an oversight, but when we were doing the dry run before this meeting, it was highlighted, Chairperson, and I did requested colleagues that we are not going to make mention of the names of individuals if the matters are not court going. Unfortunately, with those that are going to court, already persons did appear before court, and some newspapers did and media houses did make reflection on those particular individuals. But if the committee feels, Chairperson, that we need not make mention of these individuals even on the court going cases, we will do so. But I must say on that one matter where the persons of interest names were highlighted, it was an oversight and it will not happen going forward. We are also sensitive in making people's names mentioned, and not only because of a prejudice that it may bring to the law enforcement or the judicial process, but as well to protect the individuals and make sure that when the right time comes and people appear in court, that it's then made. That will be corrected, Chairperson. The other matter is in regards to the referrals. I suppose it will be referrals from SIU as well that is coming to the Directorate, and the referrals that are coming from AGSA, the whistleblowers, and so on and so forth. We are trying by all means, Chairperson, to make sure that the investigation is done timeously. However, we have noted the age analysis, which the provincial head has indicated to me that they are going forward, have a monthly age analysis meetings to interrogate and check how far investigation in different matters and what needs to be done to assist those investigation teams. I think the head of the task team that is doing the clean audit task team, it's currently out of the country, but I think the priority is also given to the extent that we do from time to time try to get other members, including from other provinces who are knowledgeable in this space, to go and assist the provinces that will have a lot of cases to assist in the investigation and will then leave when the matter is court going. So actually, we are robbing Peter to pay Paul to make sure that we do capacitate this space, but with the projects that are currently running. But I must indicate to the committee as well that any assistance by the director from the committee to the Directorate is welcomed, Chairperson, as we all know that when the DPCI was established, it was intended to be the pride of the country. To attend to these matters as speedily as possible and make people that are responsible accountable and assist the poor citizens of this country to receive the service that they require. Chairperson, I'm now responding to Honorable Klein Hans on the general question on how many cases never get reported to the law enforcement. It very difficult at the moment to say how many are these cases that are lying there. What we do where cases are not reported and where we receive the information in some way or the other, that is where we open the inquiry docket to investigate them in order for us to make sure that those cases do make their way into the investigation and ultimately to court. So it is difficult to establish at this moment as a law enforcement agency as to how many cases are not reported, but we welcome any anonymous reporting, any person who will walk and say this is what is happening. I think on the matters that I was indicating in Malutiapofung, where there are 3 issues, it's one of an example of those cases that will come and be reported, and we are investigating them as an inquiry until such time that we get enough evidence to can proceed with that matter as a case docket. So far, Chairperson, I also not in the position to can indicate if there are any link on the current cases to the Guptas. But I think if that happens, we will then update our presentation, and we'll update the committee if that is happening, unless if I've been handicapped on this one and the colleagues on the platform can indicate if we do have such. Chairperson, on the issues of that were raised by Ntatemwe Ketsi, the threats on officials, I think the honorable member has seen the note that was made by the member that what needs to happen is that the matter on the whistleblower needs to be reported if there are any threats. But what I also need to indicate is that I know, although I cannot make proper reference on the section or any reference to any directive from DPSA on the whistleblower protection, but what I know is that it is a responsibility of each entity or business unit to have a whistleblower protection, a policy that will outline how it's the entity or a business unit is intending to protect the whistleblowers. We are currently in the process through the ACTT to finalize the whistleblower protection framework that will be, as a country, will be looking at how best can we do to protect the such whistleblowers and what type of protection it's required. However, if a person is a witness in the case, there is a process within the National Prosecuting Authority of witness protection that has the processes that needs to be followed. It is the responsibility, if the IO or the investigating officer becomes aware of such, to report and advise accordingly, and that process can be kick-started.
I don't know what's happening, whether it's my fault or what. Are you still there, General?
Chair, the general seems to be finished.
Okay, she's finished. Okay. Yes. Let's proceed then. In the interest of time, I'm going to request that we shorten our responses to the questions and comments. Let's go to SIU, Mr. Kaiser Kanyako.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Our questions are in the main asked by Honorable Plain Hans, and the question was, who issues the proclamation? Maybe it is important that we take the process from the beginning so that there's an understanding. In terms of the process, when a whistleblower gives us information, we take it into our system and we assess whether there's merit in investigating. And once we find that, We are the ones who draft the proclamation. We take it through the process via the Department of Justice, who will then look at it, and the minister will then recommend it to the president, and the presidency will look into it, and ultimately the president signs the proclamation. That is when we are given the mandate to start investigating any matter that is before us. In terms of the Kopanong issue that he mentioned, we have indicated that when the matter is referred to the NPA, it is out of our hands, but we have got a good relationship with the NPA. We are able to then engage, as you have heard from the provincial head in the Free State, saying they've got also a good relationship with the provincial director of public prosecution to make sure if there is a need for our investigators to come into play and also give evidence where it is necessary for the evidence to be given. And then the question is, the other question that was raised was, will successful prosecution deter these corruptors? As a law enforcement agency, we believe that all matters that we do in terms of the work that we do, be it prosecution, be it recovery of monies and assets and so on, all of that have the good intention of making sure that the people who are doing wrong can desist from doing what they are doing, because we want to make sure that corruption is uprooted as law enforcement agencies. And the other questions that were related to us were
I don't know whether Mr. Khanyago has cut or what.
I'm back, Chair.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yes, I don't know what happened there.
Okay, no problem.
And then I was saying the other issues that were raised by your honorable self, Honorable Dodovu. It is the issue of protection of whistleblower. I think my colleague from the Hawks has just explained the processes that are there, and I fully concur with what he has just indicated. And you've also asked about the issue of the turnaround times for the agencies. If you have looked at our presentation, you will see where we were talking about strategic focuses. We have clearly indicated as the first priority the issue of improving turnaround times. And Advocate Mutivi always indicates this to say that when we did our strategy about 5 years ago, we had a problem of turnaround time, but now we have turned that around so much. We cannot give an indication to say every case must be finished by 6 months, because each and every case differs from the other. But we have said that at least if we are not done with the investigation in a year, we must have a preliminary report that is presented so that people know how far we are and what is it that we still need to do. And that we have committed to do. But also we have indicated that when COVID-19 happened, the president gave us a mandate to report to him every 6 weeks, which is something that we did with the PPE investigations, and we were able to finish more than 5,000 investigations during the period of 18 months, which was something that we should start looking at as to whether we can match it all the time when there are investigations going on and in these cases. And I think those were the issues that were related to us as the SIU. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khanyago. Over to you, Advocate Shamila.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Advocate Sumaru will take the questions.
Yes, thank you, NDPP. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairperson, some of my stakeholder colleagues have already touched on, for example, the manner in which we deal with whistleblowers. So I'm not going to reiterate what they have already stated. Suffice it to say that within the NPA, we have the Witness Protection Unit. Each and every one of our witnesses, particularly our more vulnerable witnesses, are alerted to this program. It is offered to them, and we do currently have within the program a number of witnesses. So this is an avenue that is available to our whistleblowers as well. with regard to the question on our procurement cases, specifically, how are we dealing with them and how are we managing them? With us, we approach it in an interdisciplinary, multi-sectoral format. And our attitude has always been, we approach each case as a project management basis. So our stakeholders are involved, and right from the beginning, a prosecutor is assigned to that particular case. That particular prosecutor guides or is involved in the process, trying to bring it to finality as soon as possible. A case plan is drawn up in each and every matter with timelines. One of the questions talk to timelines. This is where our case plan comes in, and we then address it. We have a bring forward date on every single matter, and we assess the progress of each and every single matter. There are times where our case plans are derailed, for example, where witnesses have died or documents are not available. Then we've got to do an entire reassessment of that matter, but we deal with that on a case-by-case basis. I also want to add that we have a dedicated team of investigators as well as prosecutors who deal with these cases right from the inception. So that is our attitude towards it. We are also actively engaged in skills transfer, in upskilling, particularly our lower court prosecutors. So we involve them also, even if it is just as a bystander, so that they are also roped in to deal with our lower value matters that will appear in the lower court at some or other stage, so that we are transferring skills and we are mentoring and developing our lower court prosecutors to these procurement type of cases. With regard to the municipalities that stand out, a question by Mrs. Kleiners, yes, indeed, there are 3 municipalities that, we've got a number of cases that have emanated from, but we are dealing with these. They are all under consideration. With regard to our turnaround time, yes, indeed, it is crucial to us. Within the Free State, we have developed a priority list. So this is our own internal list that we have developed amongst the stakeholders in the Free State to say, these are the cases that we aim to enroll in the next 3 months, then the next 6 months, and then the next 18 months. And let us try to push. So we do an analysis of that, not only to reduce the turnaround time, but to try to get those matters to court at the soonest. So I believe that regarding the NPA particularly, Mr. Chairperson, those are the aspects that were not specifically addressed by the stakeholders. So I have just added there too. So if there's anything else, I am very happy to address it. One more, slide 37, regarding the question by Mrs. Kleinhans, read the SIU referral of Kopanong, that the details of that are on slide 37, and you will see that that matter is under investigation and it has a 2019 CAS number. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Those are the responses from the NPA.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much for that. Can I invite the Honorable Deputy Minister, in the light of the discussions, presentations, and responses to the questions, input in that regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. May you allow me, I'm not having a good reception in terms of network, to switch off my video, but it is currently on and I'm sure members can see me. Let me start by greeting everybody, members, honorable members. I will not take time calling one by one. And we appreciate the invitation that was sent to COGTA. And our availability is always guaranteed, Chairperson. It may not be the minister in some instances, but DM Bapela or DM Nkadiming will always make sure that we receive
with the agency that your invitation deserves and make sure that we respond accordingly. Thank you for the opportunity once more. I would like to take on just some few issues, but rather cover a broad range without taking a lot of time. Honorable Kleinhans raised the very important questions amongst many with regard to empowerment for councils to assist them with regard to oversight, particularly on issues relating to supply chain management. And quite a lot has been done, Chair, and it still continues to be done, particularly with regard of this new term that started on the 4th of November, 2021. Department, together with the National Treasury, has been able to create municipal planning, budgeting and reporting reforms, put up committees that assist even higher to be all-inclusive, to deal with issues of defining to council, followed by a circular to all councils. What does oversight mean? What does a Section 52 report mean? When must it serve to council? Who has a responsibility to receive it? Who has a responsibility to make sure that it sits in council? What are the key areas? Why must it be referred to MPEC? Who qualifies to be the member of MPEC? Subsequent to that, we almost are left with about 4 municipalities in terms of training of their MPECs across the country. Some municipalities were slow. Yes, we passed with training. We may have to revert. Some had not appointed their full MPEC committees at the time we wanted to commence with the training. And what is this training? It was one to highlight them to the new changes of the bill, IMSI bill, as it was signed by the president on the 1st of November. For example, a mayor is not supposed to see that report before it goes to council, so that he doesn't clean it. He also is not supposed to serve in MPEC. Quite a number of detailed issues. But to be honest with you, Honorable Chair, we also need a system of where we will capacitate the recruitment of municipalities, those that are willing to be capacitated. And I'm very careful in the selection of my words. Metsimahulu, for example, I hope I'm not wrong in the calling of this municipality. In the 2 previous financial years, they had a stadium, I think, of about 21 million. AG sits in the municipal planning and reform committee that were formed with National Treasury. And AG says, in that 20 million, I went into the ground, I only found a fence, which was not even part of the contract. It was just an old fence, yet 21 million had been paid. Chair, the example in this case is not a case of capacity. It's a case of people who understand and how to deviate and what to do when they're deviating, and then the records get missing. So we need a balance of what we are doing today, from a fact of I'm a new councillor who's 6 months old or 7 months old today, as having started in municipality A versus the understanding. But we didn't stop there. The second measure which we have put on our clearance is a qualified course for all MPECs, which is now full-time. It's called Municipal Finance Management. It is accredited by the University of Pretoria and University of Witwatersrand, VETS as we normally call it. And it's compulsory for all MPEC members, and council must pay for it. For all MPEC members to attend, to enhance capacity. For all MMCs for finance to attend. For all mayors and the troikas, as we call them, to attend and pass the course. Maybe we will reap the results after that. It is an 18-month course if you stretch it longer. It covers all the legislations, key MFMA, MSAs, both Structures Act and Systems Act. The database that has been developed by COGTA, we will make it a Honorable Chair and share it. It is currently sitting at 1,600 What is this database? It's a record of misconduct for all municipal staff. At the beginning, Honorable Chair, we started as COGTA National registering only section 57, 56, 57 and up of misconduct, because mostly they are the ones who move on a 5-year term. On average, a director spends about 3 years, which is 36 months in a municipality, and they start to apply. One, because the contract is expiring or is likely to expire, but in some instances because of cases that emanate. We are currently at 1,685. I wouldn't take long, Chair, but it is broken down in categories. For example, the category of what we're talking about today has 296 cases of financial misconduct, corruption, or fraud that has been conducted, not only by section 56, 57, but as I said, later on we realized that, for example, Honorable Kleinhans, supply chain managers in small municipalities besides metros and cities like Umhlatuze, for example, or Rustenburg, they are usually not directors, but they are managers, which means they are middle managers, and they fall below the category of 56 or 57. And they also tend to move a lot because they get involved. Why did we develop this, Honorable Chair? We share it with all municipalities to make sure that they reference when they interview as to whether this person belongs to this register. And why we have actually in one municipality threatened to take us to court to say we don't have the law to do that. But we're able to showcase what the MFMA allows us to do, particularly the Minister of Finance, with regard to reappointment. For example, if you are charged of fraud, the MFMA is clear, you can't be reappointed if you have not been outside the system for 10 years. We have shortcomings. The register is currently manual. The reason why it's taking long for it to be automated is because we are unlike PESA, which is one system in every department. If you put an ID, one person of Honorable Dodov, it will tell you he works at the Department of Justice, he has been there for 15 years, is he blocked, he can't be employed. All 257 municipalities utilizes different payment management systems. So we're trying to possibly see if we can score it, for example, piggyback on finance and attach that and make it a requirement for a municipality when it appoints to tick that box as to whether Nkadiming has never been fined or whatever, which is one of the weaknesses. But we also have instances where municipalities knowingly that Nkadiming appears in that register, but they also do not take that. So let me last conclude. I could really unpack quite a lot on what members have raised, but I thought these are the two issues that are key. The last one being the request that I'm making in terms of the select committee being a stakeholder of the review in total of the IMSIP. It's a governmental monitoring, support and intervention bill. We need to look beyond how local government have been structured, Honorable Michalakis. For example, in one of the questions which we have asked, it talks about what are we doing as municipalities or as COGTA to ensure that we lift the system, even when municipalities like Mangaung are under intervention, Malute, Apofo, as we have as all the law enforcement agencies have listed them periodically. Just today, you remain limited under the law as it stands today, because council, nobody can take over the powers of council, even when council deliberately does not live by the action plan of the AG, for example. The Auditor General comes audit you and say, you for 5 years in a row, Municipality X, we have been on disclaimer, and we have been raising these following things and you don't attend to them. We can only put section 139. Whether it's 7, there is national intervention in Mangaung. but the intervener is supposed to go through council to get his recommendations approved. And that wastes a lot of time in instances where council is hellbound on not assisting with what they are like elected to do. Today, Mangaung has no budget, not unless maybe they adopted it yesterday or day before. I'm not aware of it. But it's one, as we are sitting now, Honorable Chair, one intervention, section 1397 in Mangaung, but council, we've done everything we could, but council has not adopted a budget. And I can't adopt it on their behalf. You can't adopt it on their behalf. So those are some of the levers of the law that we have to deal with in harnessing the processes. Let me stop there, Honorable Chair, and appreciate the opportunity to engage on this. It's very crucial, and I do hope NDPP will not, she's correctly angry with us at the municipal level and at the local government sphere, but I do guess, Chair, we need such an endeavor, even in other provinces, to fast track the areas and the cases where a section 106 and 139 have produced forensic, which needs to be followed up by law enforcement agencies. Thank you very much, Chair.
All right, thank you very much, DM, for your interventions. I think, let me start there. I think there's a powerful point from the Director of Public Prosecution to say bluntly, and she confronts us without any hesitation, that the complete failure of municipalities is a cause of our problems today. That is why the law enforcement agencies have occupied the space. And this is an issue that we must, all of us, irrespective in the field, take to the heart, that municipalities have failed to execute and discharge their own constitutional obligations. That is why we are here. If we had the oversight committees functioning effectively at municipal level, if municipalities were holding their executives accountable for their own activities, if they were heeding to the recommendations and even implementing the recommendations of the Auditor General, we shouldn't be here. If they had put up the necessary systems of reporting, of whistleblowing, of reporting crime and corruption, and that those who are responsible do not act with impunity, disciplinary actions are taken against them, we wouldn't be here. And I think this is a statement that all of us in the field of local government must embrace and take to their heart and say, what is it that we can do to ameliorate the situation? What is it that we can do to turn things around? And I think this is just as easy as that. The system has collapsed, the system is failing us. That is why we are here today with all these investigations by the law enforcement agencies. And I think this is a message that we must take forward. But having said that, I think as we conclude, we will really like to see all the agencies be much coordinated and be better coordinated in their work, so that if they work together as a unit, nothing is gonna defeat them, and they are going to make a huge contribution in respect of fighting crime and corruption within the municipalities. And for me, this is quite important. I said about 3 weeks ago to the mayor of Machabeng, I asked him a question: do you have the necessary security? Because all that is coming up from Machabeng is very, very serious, and it's something that must be confronted. I mean, an important big municipality such as that had collapsed because of all these related problems. And coupled with that were the issues around the Zama-Zamas, the Lesotho foreign nationals and the Zimbabwean foreign nationals, who are even fighting among themselves, doing illegal mining in that particular vicinity. And this in itself collapsed the whole system, because they even damaged the necessary infrastructure and the property within that municipality. And I'm happy that many cases are emerging from that municipality, the municipality of Machabeng, and this must be attended to. But at the same time, as you pointed out, DM, the issues of Mangaung is a metropolitan municipality that have collapsed. As we speak now, it is under administration because of the persistent problems, financial problems that are obtained in that municipality. And for me, this is quite important. It must be attended to. The last point that I want to make, I'm happy that no one throughout this discussion, I was abatedly waiting for that somebody is going to say the NPA or the Hawks or the SIU, you are captured. And nobody's saying that. It means this particular problem is being addressed quite fundamentally, because it would have arisen that you are captured or you are politically motivated and what you do is not okay, and your investigations have got eyes in terms of who is persecuted. And I'm happy that all of us in unison are saying we must do something about that. And on that score, I want to really thank and congratulate the law enforcement agencies for the work that they are doing. I think maybe the problem was lack of information that is coming before us, and that is why we think that nothing is happening. But what comes out of these presentations is that a lot is taking place in the Free State to fight crime and corruption, and these agencies are resolute in terms of the work that they do, and that inspires confidence going forward. And with that, I think I must really thank everybody who was part of this important session, especially the municipalities. These municipalities are dealing with these issues day to day. They can see corruption and fraud and all of that happening in their eyes. They hear a lot of stories about the siphoning of funds in their municipalities. And with this kind of sessions where we have invited municipalities is very good, because now they know what is it that these law enforcement agencies are doing in their respective municipalities. And I'm sure it will be good that they keep in touch with the law enforcement agencies, make some inquiries, engage with them, get the information in terms of progress, and that will help in terms of developing a formidable way to fight corruption and crime in their own municipalities. And that is why they were here. I think lastly, the discussion that must ensue, this committee, I'm sure, will make that recommendation that we need a discussion, not only for this committee, but all committees of parliament, in terms of the nature of information that must be shared to different committees of parliament by the law enforcement agencies, so that all the loopholes that are identified in this regard, protecting witnesses, ensuring that you do not give the information, that we have a balance between accounting, but at the same time ensuring that you do not give every information that will jeopardize the investigations or and so on and so forth, must be protected. Parliament needs to have a discussion so that we develop a uniform approach in terms of how we receive information from the law enforcement agencies. There's a point that we pick up, we will elevate it so that it gets discussed within Parliament in terms of how we must deal with the issues. Other than that, as I said, we are grateful, we are thankful, and in this regard, let me thank the DM and Kadimen for always, as I indicated, always with us, attend our meetings, share with us pertinent information. We gladly appreciate that. Thank Advocate Shamila Batoy for coming personally to this committee to share your perspectives about what is happening, progress report in that regard, and the entirety of your team for making that contribution. We value it. Thank the Hawks, the DPCI for coming to us. You had your own problems, and my view is that all the elements that are not good, that soil your reputation, must be removed from this entity, so that you are able to move forward with your work without being targeted or being accused that you are not doing what is expected of you. The SIU always do a good, wonderful job, and even in terms of its reporting, we are thankful. And lastly, thank all the municipalities which have attended this. I hope they will find this very, very useful. The information that was shared in terms of what we want to do and going forward, and for the implication of the future perspective, this is what we need to do to share information. With all of that, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members, this brings us to the end of our meeting. We are going to meet as a committee on our own to just ensure that this is how we process issues. The last issue, just before I forget, we are likely to undertake a study trip to Holland, and I'm saying this to members of parliament, and next week, please link up with Moss and ensure that you provide the necessary information to Moss, so that once the approval is made by our authorities, we know that everything is in place, because if we are departing, it means that we are left with less than 7 days before that happens. We are attending an important World Urban Forum conference that will take place, and we need to make sure that we are ready, and we are going to make some contributions in that respect. With that, thank you very much, everybody. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Bye.
Thank you, Chair. Bye-bye. Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you. So what we have is the supervisor.